This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to a perfect way to start our day with fresh little pug marks in the sand. It is pug marks for what looks like maybe Hosanna, who's crossing the road towards Gallagher Pan. So we'll go and have a little look around there just now. My name is Tristan. On camera I've got David this morning, and it is a very, very warm welcome to all of you wherever you may be in the world, whether it be day or night. I hope that you are having a wonderful evening or day. Right, now we are coming to you live, which means that I would like to hear from all of you. I would like to hear your questions, your comments. I also would like to say thank you for those of you that have already participated in interacting with us by letting us know that Tingana was at the dam cam. It is always very much appreciated. Now, if you want to be like those that have helped us out in our quest for animals, as well as, like I say, want to ask questions and comments, you can do that on #SafariLive on Twitter or at FC on the YouTube chat. And hopefully we'll be able to get through as many as possible. And hopefully all of you have got your thinking caps on and will give us lots of entertaining and excellent questions to answer during the course of the morning. Now, we'll try and follow these tracks. There's tracks for two leopard kind of tracks that I can see here. There's one that goes in this way a little bit, and then there's more that kind of go down the edge of the road a little bit further on. It might be a bit difficult for David because of the aerial, but straight between those two aerials is where the tracks are on the road. You can just see them kind of just going on the left of that tire track. They walking along there. So I don't know if it's the same leopard that just came in, scent marked, and then walked a little way down. It could then be Tingana, but these tracks don't look quite that big for Tingana, and so it could be Hosanna heading towards Gallagher Pan. We'll just quickly have a little scratch there. If there's nothing there, then we'll come around and just check where these go. But if these are Tinganas, then they would have obviously gone to the Pan, and he would have then headed northeast from there, like you all let us know. So we'll see what happens and see how we go, but at least promising signs. Always very nice when you come out in the morning and there's a track for a leopard right there. Right, now while we follow these and see where they head, let's send you across to Brent Leo Smith, who's also out and about this morning. Let's go find out what he's up to, and so you can say good morning.
Well. I wonder if Tristan and I have got tracks of the same animal. Now, where's a nice clear one there? There. That's a nice clear one. So I'm going to call Tristan on the Game Drive radio. Unfortunately, Wendy's Game Drive comms are still open. But good morning. That is a leopard track. I am Brent. That is Sebastian moving the camera. Welcome to Safari Live. #SafariLive if you want to talk to us. Tristan. Is Tristan not answering me? Or maybe my volume was too low. Tristan?
Yes.
Those tracks have you got? Do you think they're Hosanna?
Like maybe him. Double checking now. Haven't really had a chance just yet.
Copy. I've also got tracks of Hosanna going east down Warburg's Eagle. And the bushbuck kill is finished. So the bushbuck kill is completely finished. This could very well be Hosanna, both sets of tracks. So we're going to have a look this way because the tracks are going that way. And go off the road here and into the block. So we're going to loop down towards Twin Dams, see if he pops out around there. But you can see it's a beautiful morning. A few clouds about. Well, 1 cloud bank, 2 cloud bank, 3 cloud bank, so not many clouds about. Let's see if we can spot the little plinths. Now with Hosanna, you never know, he's probably wandered everywhere. So it's quite easy that these could be his tracks. He could have looped around, gone back to where Tristan's got tracks. I heard Tingana was apparently at the dam a little bit earlier, at the dam cam. So maybe he'll pop up. But the direction he's going, it's not great for us because he's more than likely going to cross north into Buffelshoek. Sandy and Shalamba. Tristan and I went tracking yesterday afternoon. We had tracks of theirs going into Buffelshoek, unfortunately. But they could very easily be back. Nkahuma Pride went into the Manyaleti. So it could be one of those quiet cat mornings. And you know what we do on quiet cat mornings? We taunt and mock the other presenters. Paula would like to know, what time do we wake up for drive in the morning? So it depends, Paula. But normally at 4 a.m. or Jamie somehow feels the need. Jamie's off this morning, but Jamie feels the need to wake up at 3:45. I feel 4:05 is adequate. And then for us, Sebastian, myself, and Tristan, who live at Inga's, we then normally leave about between 10 past and 4:15 from our house to get to FC and the cars. So we normally arrive at about 20 past 4, make some tea or coffee, depending what your poison is. I like tea. Sebastian, Sebastian's also drinking tea. Tristan, tea. James Henry, coffee. Jamie, tea. Sydney, coffee. What other presenters here? No, that's it, eh? Trainees, we don't even care about, don't worry about. They make their own. They must sort themselves out. Yes. We make them do push-ups. No, I'm joking, of course. And then at 30 minutes past 0400 hours, we are sitting in the cars. It's bums in seats, as we like to call it. And so as a presenter, I'll check fuel, steering fluid, brake fluid, and clutch fluid. These are old cars, and we do put them through some pretty strenuous stuff on a daily basis. So check that. Then we check all our tires, make sure we don't have any flats, and we check our spare. We make sure we have a wheel spanner, a high lift jack, a fire extinguisher. We've got a lot of electrical equipment, and Wendy's caught on fire twice before in the past. Once quite badly. That was a very long time ago, though. On Jamie's interview drive, it caught fire. And rain covers. Then the cameramen have to check, make sure all their stuff is good. And then we do our checks with final control. Emma makes us count to 10. So every morning, if you are nearby, you'll hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have different voices. So to stop peaking, apparently I'm much louder than everyone else. Apparently some people do the alphabet instead of counting. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. And then we have to do the delay test. So Emma will go, clap on 3, 1, 2. And then they can work out, I think, what's the delay this morning, Emma? About 2 seconds or 3 seconds between the signal from the vehicle. So one car, see, and this is the other thing where FC have quite a tricky time. So the one vehicle, I don't know which one, is 3 seconds, the other is 4 seconds. So when they want us to link or do anything like that, they've got to factor that in. So when they want us to link, they've got to add 3 seconds or add 4 seconds. Some other complicated nonsense like that. And yes, I hear the alarm calls. And then we head out to see if we can find some kitty cats. Some angry squirrels. That's the direction those tracks were heading, so let's go forward slightly. Now, of course, some people are faster in the morning than others, and probably one of the slower cats in the early morning is our good friend Tristan. I'm not slow in the mornings. I am of efficiency, and stealth is what I am, Brent Smith. I get in, get the job done, and get out
without you noticing. No, Brent this morning was very concerned that I wasn't going to be on time for drive, but all I was doing was just taking my time a little bit. I knew that Sebastian was also coming down because we have a bit of a lift system up at Inga's, because Sebastian, myself, and Brent and Jamie and Ali all live up that side. And so we kind of, because there's there's actually five of us, should I say. We have 3 different cars between the 5 of us, and so it makes no sense to be driving cars up and down just for the sake of driving, so we always try and coordinate things. And so generally Jamie and Brent are the early shuttle, so they go at around sort of 4 o'clock-ish. They'll start to leave and they'll come down and have tea and coffee and all the other things and take a very leisurely sort of start to their morning, whereas Seb is the late bus. I kind of depends on my day. Either I'm with the early bus or the late bus, and I just jump in with whoever's going down for the most part. Sometimes I'll drive myself if I'm kind of don't feel like waiting or I'm a little bit late, but generally that's kind of how it works. And so normally Seb comes. Exactly, we are environmentally conscious. That's how we roll, Emma. We are careful and not using too much fuel to drive around. But anyway, we got to that point where let's see if these Nyala are going to stay still for us. Hold on. So this morning I wasn't awake for the early bus, which was slightly late this morning. Brent Smith was not on his normal time. He left at 16 minutes past 4, and I jumped in with Sebastian at 21 minutes past 4 and came out to DRC. Hello, Nyala. That one's looked like it had all the coffee this morning. Very wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. How's that breakfast going, Nyala? Yes, very delicious. We're in one room that's... Exactly, I mean, that saying is perfectly suited to this Nyala. It's like one of those things where wide-eyed and bushy-tailed works very well, because look at the tail of a Nyala. It is rather bushy, isn't it? Lots of long fur there, and then it had very big wide black eyes. It was just kind of looking at us. Now these guys will be very happy and joyous to see the sun starting to rise. It's always tricky for them during the course of the evenings to survive at the night, and I'm sure they get hunted and chased and all kinds of nonsense. And even if there isn't something like a leopard around, I'm pretty sure they get sort of scared by things like civets and all kinds of others that scuttle about at night. So it must be tough to be a Nyala or an Impala. Now that Nyala is very focused down towards the drainage, and the reason why is there's some Impalas that are walking through there, and you'll see them just now, Dave. They'll come out onto the road. Well, they should do. They're walking quite steadily, but they're walking along, and so the Nyala was just double checking just to make sure that it's not something it needs to worry about, like a pride of lions or a spotty leopard that was walking around. I was hoping it would be a spotty leopard. A spotty leopard would have gone down quite well, because we would have at least seen what we were looking for. And unfortunately, though, so far no signs of any tracks coming out this side towards Gallagher Pan or anywhere there. There could potentially be between Gallagher Pan and where I saw the tracks around the sort of tent area, but I think it's the same tracks that end up coming back onto the road. And there's the Impalas. You can see them just ghosting through the thickets. Well done, David. A good spot. It could potentially be the same ones, and maybe it is Tingana. Brent thinks he's got Hosanna's tracks on his side, so I'm not sure. Cardinal, yes, the Nyala will look a bit scruffy, unfortunately. Things like Nyala, Bushbuck, Kuru, even the Impalas to a degree are not going to... There's a little alarm call. There's only just the one snort, which is interesting. Everybody looks fairly relaxed though, except that one. I'm not sure. Right, but back to our Nyalas and things looking scrappy. We're at the end of the dry season now, which means that they haven't fed very well. It also means that mange is typically worse than it is during the course of the summer season, and so that's why it'll be looking a bit rough around the edges. Oh, there's a Nyala bull behind us as well. So you'll find that their coats are looking a little bit scruffy and not really working. Now, Brent is trying to have a conversation with somebody on Game Drive Radio, but he's just not copying them. Yeah, Brent, I don't think you can copy Lex. Lex, no updates at this stage. Just tracks for a male leopard at where Tele-Access going towards DRC. And then there's also tracks for a male leopard going east on Warburg's Nest Road. There we go. Just sort that out quickly. Otherwise, I'm going to have Brent and Lex umming and ahhing to each other, talking over one another, and, generally a bit of mass confusion. Now, this is a young boy. He's still growing, as you can see. His fluff has not sort of grown out yet. He's an awkward teenager that's starting to get his beard for the first time and got a little bit of stubble. Horns are still growing, still bulking up and growing into his adult form. So it'll take a while still, probably about another 2 years until he'd be big enough to really compete for mating rights. But you can see the camouflage works incredibly well. Even though it's so dark brown and white, you would expect it to stand out. But once they get behind some thickets, it becomes very tricky to see them. Okay, well, the impalas haven't shouted again, unfortunately. I was hoping we were going to hear them start breaking out into a snorting fest, but unluckily for us, they haven't done that, and so we're going to carry on. While we do that, though, let's send you across to Sydney, who is on walk this morning, and wants to say hello and tell us his plans for the morning.
A very, very good morning and welcome to the beginning of the guided walk. I am Sydney Niconico, and I'm traveling with Senzo, who is my camera operator, as well as Herbert, my game scout. We are going to try by all means and give you the best experience ever. For your questions and comments, you can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. My plan this morning is looking for the tiny little things, including big animals. Hopefully, a spotted cat will be a bonus this morning, if we find any. So the weather this morning is perfect. I'm very happy because it's cool, not windy at all, and the sun is shining. So the only challenge will be it's looking a very good morning again. So it's looking very bright. We might enjoy some warmth this morning. So there's quite a lot of squirrels already who are giving us quite a lot of information here. Maybe there's a cat where we are. Squirrels are just complaining. Listen to that. So those squirrels, it's just that I can only hear where they are, but I can't see them from where I am. So I'm just going to carry on trekking for these animals. So the elephants, I am going to see if I can find them. Whenever I pick up their fresh tracks, I'm going to track them down, and I will update you. Soon as I see the fresh tracks, we are going to find the elephants for you. Those ones are not difficult as cats. So there is also quite a lot of guinea fowls making noise ahead of me. So there's quite a lot of noise here where I am, and there's a combination. These squirrels making noise, and there is also guinea fowls ahead of me. So I just want to try and see other squirrels are also joining. So now let's go to Brent, who is now looking at the moon. Wait, Waivela.
We're just sitting below where we heard those squirrels alarming. Tristan's on the other side of this block, and Sebastian has framed up a beautiful scene of the moon this morning. You can actually see some of the impact craters. There's a big one on that sort of top left, with some alien crashed his spaceship. And we were hoping that the squirrels were shouting at a leopard that was moving this direction, but like Tristan, our impalas are very relaxed. They're on the other side of the shouting squirrels in this beautiful morning light. Decision time. Should we go east, Sebastian?
Yeah.
Let's go east. We'll leave this area for Tristan, and we're going to go east, see if we can find Tandi, Kalamba, anything really. Bobo Girl is wondering, how do animals like impala and inyala sleep at night? Very, very, very little. They will bed down, but they won't sleep as in what our terms of sleep are, sort of flat out. They'll sort of doze, but they're still very alert, and they'll be listening and smelling at the same time, just in case, and watching a predator appears. Now, I'm quite jealous of Sebastian Rombi today, because he's heading off to the beach, aren't you, Seb?
Yeah, well, tomorrow.
Tomorrow you're heading to the beach. And we're waiting to hear how it is, because I think we're going to go to the same place when we go on leave in a few weeks. Down to a place called Cozy Bay, which is on the border of South Africa and Mozambique. Pride of lion tracks.
Heading south. We going to go down
Zoe.
direction.
I think Tristan.
Next, I'm going to go shortcut.
Yeah, Tristan's in the area.
Mind if I can give you a hand there?
Yeah, Tristan's going to help follow out. So it sounds like the Nkuhumas have come back from the Manuleti last night. So hopefully they have some luck in tracking those lions. We're going to then stick to leopards this morning. We were talking about Cozy Bay. No, I can't keep anything from you because you could hear everything on the radio. It's obviously just a temporary solution while we fix our main radio. We had a massive power surge in camp which damaged quite a lot of electronic equipment day before yesterday. Yeah, and we're actually only sort of finally, or Paul Conrad is getting to terms with the many broken things that happened during that power surge. And the power company is supposed to come next week to try sort out all the things because it was their fault, naughty power company. And I'm just going to have a quick look here, see if those leopard tracks pop out. Otherwise, I think we're going to go east, I think. Run away from everyone else to the place where we'll be the only vehicle. Run away! Run away! So no tracks here just yet. Oh, we're talking about Cozy Bay, that's right. Now, Sebastian and I are well, we want to go to Cozy Bay for different reasons, I think. Sebastian wants to spend some time on the beach with his wife and his daughter. Do some snorkeling. However, well, Tristan and Ali are planning to come with Jamie and I. We are Ali and Jamie are planning to look for some turtles, nesting, do some snorkeling, sunbathing. And Tristan and I are taking a boat, and we plan to do some fishing. It's probably the best place in South Africa to fish for one of my favorite saltwater fishies. In South Africa, it's called the Ignobilus kingfish. Its scientific name is Caranx ignobilus, but better known in the rest of the world. And if I have any fishermen out there, particularly saltwater fishermen, you'll know exactly what I talk about when I say a GT, and it's not a gin and tonic. A GT, a giant trevally, one of the hardest fighting fish you can catch. They fight dirty as well. They often rub you off on the rocks. You need really good strong braid, and they're quite a nice fish to fish for because you often take them on surface lures, on poppers, and I might throw a fly for the one as well. Actually, I'm definitely going to throw a fly. GT. Carol wants to know if we cook the catch. GT not. Especially if we get any decent sized GTs, we will release them immediately. But other fish species that we'll be targeting while we're there, such as grunter, spotted grunter, are very, very good eating. Look who's arrived from Central Africa. I can hear him. I saw him.
Ja, Brent, there's also cats over ahead of us.
Zizi. Okay, wait, let's find this quickly. It just flew off. I'm sure we'll get a view from the riverbed. Now, these are intra-African migrants. He's come down from possibly as far north as Cameroon, but most likely from northern Zambia or Angola. Of course, being difficult now. See if we can hear it again. Of course, it's gone quiet now. We heard it a bit earlier. I saw it. It was a paradise flycatcher. Zweet, it's further down the riverbed. Just flown a little bit lower down. I heard it. Zweet, zweet. Very distinct call. And you won't hear it during the dry season. Occasionally in certain areas you might get a juvenile who will actually not migrate and spend the winter. But most of them will migrate up into Central Africa. It sounded like it was just over here. There. Seb has spotted him. Let me try to go back a little bit, I think. There. He's in that back worry. Oh no! Oh, he's giving us the runaround. No, you horrible little bird! He's going. We've got him. I lost him. I think he landed though. Okay, wait. I think he landed in one of these big. Well, he can't keep quiet. That's at least one bonus, so we can always find him. But let's listen again. Near a hyena. Ooh. I hear him. Bit further forward. In that green there. Now, this is worth it, guys. It's such a pretty bird. That is why I'm desperately hunting it down for you. Chris agrees. Chris would like it for the bird list. Well, Chris, hopefully we get it for you shortly. Could hear it making noise here somewhere. Oh, there. Watch. Oh! Wait, there, it's landed. Okay. Did it land or did it keep going? Okay, we'll last try before. There. See him hopping there? Left, I think. There. In that same tree. Up a bit. There. There we go. It's got a beautiful big tail. There you go. A paradise flycatcher. That's a male. And they only have that long tail. Oh, off he goes again. It's not a very... Normally they're quite nice, but this one's been quite difficult. So the males only have that long during the breeding season. And it's to impress the ladies. So they're breeding intra-African migrants. Okay, well, I get out of the Mawati, see if we can find...
I am right now trying to investigate the tracks here. It looks like this has been Hosanna, and the tracks are just going everywhere here where I am. It's showing that Hosanna is conducting some hunting at the moment. So I am going to be following on these tracks. We might be lucky and see something very, very interesting this morning. You can see this track is nice and clear, and he was going this side. And then there's tracks that are going also to the opposite side. So it's showing that this cat is down here. There's quite a lot of bad calls giving quite a lot of warning still. So I want to see if he is around here. It's going to take a little bit of time because now Hosana is just about to turn 3 years. And when he's 4 years, is when maybe he might start to enter when it comes to competition. He might start to enter the territorial competitions. Oh. So it means... so now let's go to Tristan.
Well, what an exciting start to our morning now, because we've just come across a big herd of buffalo, and flanking the buffalo, as you can see, is the Niconico pride. So I can only see 2 lionesses at the moment, but I would imagine most of them are here. You can see the buffalo know the lions are around, and so at the moment it's a standoff between them. There's lions being chased, buffalo being chased. Now, they're trying to sort of separate them out. They look hungry, and so I'm pretty sure they're going to try their level best to bring down one of these guys. There you can see the buffalo are not taking any chances, and so these lions, what they're going to try and do is separate a buffalo out here and then go after them. I can't see how many lions there are at the moment. There come, look, she's running in. Right, now, we're going to take this to a wider audience, so I'm just going to hold off speaking for a little bit. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a beautiful start to our day in South Africa. As you can see, there's a tawny cat that is ghosting through the wintry grass. My name is Tristan. On camera, I've got David, and it is an exciting start to our morning because these lions are busy hunting a herd of buffalo. There's a bit of a standoff that's taken place. We've just found them. There's buffalo that are all kind of lined up. They know the lions are here already, and the lions themselves are kind of just going back and forward between the buffalo at the moment, and eventually they will probably try and hunt them. I don't know how many lions we've even got yet, but it should theoretically be the Niconico pride, which would be a pride of, well, it's 11 that we normally with them, but they've had another 4 males join them lately, so it should be 15 in total. I can only see a few that are walking around, so I can just see the 3. They seem to be moving away from the buffalo at this stage. Maybe they're going to just regroup with the rest. Let's try and follow the lions themselves, but there's definitely kind of a bit of interaction. When we first got here, we just saw a buffalo chasing after the lions, crashing through the bush, and so that's maybe why they're just going to settle down for a little bit, get everybody back in together, and then back after the buffalo they'll go. But it's such an epic way to start the morning. It's always amazing to watch these two go at it, because they are obviously 2 of Africa's most iconic animals, and both of them have huge amounts of power and sort of intellect basically to burn, and so it really makes for an interesting kind of battle when these guys go after buffalo. But I think what we're going to see is that the rest of the pride is maybe a little bit further off, and that's why these guys are just kind of try and kind of join up. What it looks like from what I can see is that this is mostly the sub-adults from the pride. So there are 5 sub-adult females, 1 sub-adult male that are born to this pride, and then they've got 4 other sub-adult males that have joined, which is very unusual. So 3 from one pride and 1 from another pride, and that's kind of compromises the, well, it makes the pride a little bit sort of unstable at the moment. Everybody's still figuring out what's going on, and there's a bit of aggression to some of those lions, and particularly the 3 males that have joined from a certain pride. But the rest of the prides here, I can see most of them. You'll also see a vehicle driving past us. We do have we are in an area where there is tourism, and so we will have other vehicles that will be with us. Now, you know, you say the Nkumas love a buffalo. Yes, they do love a buffalo, but it seems like they might have got taught a lesson, because at the moment everybody's kind of striding off and rejoining. But look at this on the right hand side. It's just a big grouping of lions that are just walking. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm not sure they're going to go again at these buffalo. They might. It looks as though everybody's just going to kind of settle down. They do look hungry. None of them are particularly full, which means that they will probably, in all likelihood, want to try and secure a meal. But often what happens with buffalo is once buffalo know lions in the area, they regroup and they come together, and it becomes very difficult for the lions to actually do anything about it. They know that the buffalo, when they're united, are going to be a hard animal to go after. If that was just one buffalo bull by itself, then you would find they'd be far more persistent. But when they get into a group like that and there's herds of buffalo all come together, it makes it a lot harder. And you can actually see they almost, I think, have abandoned this hunt now. They are moving off quite steadily, trying to kind of move and put distance between them and the buffalo. The buffalo themselves are still coming in this direction, so maybe they're just going to try and find a place to settle down and then wait for the buffalo to move towards them. But for now, I think everything is... Now, can you hear that? That's a bit of the animosity between the pride, and that's because we've got new members that are in it, and everybody is trying to figure out who is who at the moment. I'm just going to catch up with them, though. They are moving a little bit further away from us, so we're going to just try and get to where most of the pride is, but still a little bit of grumpiness in amongst all the females and males. Now, I'm just trying to check which way they're going to go. Murray, this is at the moment, we're at dawn. The sun has just risen here in South Africa, and so, you know, it would have been a night of these guys hunting, and how long they've been chasing the buffalo for, we don't know. We just found the tracks for buffalo and lions, and we followed those along, and eventually we managed to catch up with the pride. And it was just as the buffalo and them were kind of chasing each other, we got a brief view of it, of the interaction, and then now it seems as though they've kind of abandoned it. But we'll see. We'll hopefully get them all kind of coming together again and then regrouping and trying once more. At this stage, though, it's going to be a little bit, I think, of a lost cause, because they're all seemingly walking completely away from where the buffalo are. Now, I'll just try and see if I can catch up. These guys are moving so quickly that it's difficult to kind of keep up with them. Right, there we go. At least we got a much better view of the pride. Isn't that beautiful to watch all these lions kind of move around through the thickets? Wonderful way to start the day. Anyway, we're going to say goodbye for now. It's unfortunate that the lions are moving away from the buffalo. We were hoping to see a buffalo-lion showdown and a spectacle, but at least it was still nice to kind of show you guys these. But if anything does happen, we certainly will go live again. Remember, if you do want to watch what these lions get up to, you can Google SafariLive, and you can watch 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon every single day as we follow these animals around. But from myself and David, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you all next time. Right, now unfortunately the lions just don't seem to be wanting to actually hunt these buffalo anymore. I wonder how long this has been going on for. It might have been going on for quite some time and we've just missed it. But anyway, at least we've found them, which is excellent. Just having a look at who's here, it looks like that the three Mangens are definitely here. Surprisingly enough, looking at them, they don't actually look that bad at the moment. They look better than the first pictures I ever saw of them. I mean, they do have evidence of mange. I mean, big signs that they've got it, but they're looking a lot better. Oh, there's some zebras up in front. I wonder if they're going to go after those zebras. There's some zebras in front there. The buffalo is still following behind us at the moment, but let's just see what these lions are going to get up to. This could be interesting. They definitely are hungry. This many mouths to feed is not very easy, and they're going to have to go after food, so we'll just try and kind of figure out whether or not they're actually going to hunt these zebras. But it doesn't look like anybody's that interested. I mean, one or two of them have stopped and looked. Yes, there's one lioness that's broken off on the right here. So if you have a look from here, unfortunately the impalas have spotted them. So the impalas are alarm calling already, so that's ruined that hunt, unfortunately. But there the impalas are. There was a zebra that was in amongst all of that and behind that, so I was hoping that they were going to get kind of closer, but that impala, you can see there, they're scattering and running away. There go the zebras as well. Unfortunately, the lions have got no chance because they're being shouted at from every angle at the moment. I think their better opportunity would have been to go after buffalo. Wisteria, they do look hungry. I'm pretty sure that these guys are wanting to hunt and wanting to try and find some semblance of food, but obviously, you know, out here it's not that easy. It's not always a game where lions always win. You know, they have a tough time. Buffalo are incredibly difficult to hunt in herd structures. When they see lions, they know that they need to make sure that they kind of group together and provide a united front, which is exactly what that buffalo herd seemed to be doing. But I'm a bit kind of disappointed in that the Nkuhumas have had a lot of goes at buffalo of late and have been relatively unsuccessful. I wonder if it's maybe this new dynamic with all these different males that they've got in this pride that is making it a little bit tricky. Maybe the males are the ones that are kind of interrupting the hunt from time to time and causing, you know, a bit of instability in terms of their hunting prowess, because you would expect the Nkuhumas at this time to be very good at being able to bring down buffalo, particularly with this many of them. You know, there's 15 lions now in this pride, which is quite something. Now, while we're on the subject of the Nkuhuma pride and that they're just walking along, it's obviously been a big debate about who this lion was that joined them, and originally it was said to be a certain Talamati lion who had this little nick in his ear, and it's not him, as we were alluding to the other day. Now, Brent got a bit confused and kind of said that I said it's not a Talamati, which is not the case. I just said I wasn't sure which animal it was, and it wasn't that particular Talamati. But anyway, lots of people have done some homework and research, and thank you to those that have. I know Angela, you did some stuff, and Michael Fleetwood as well. And basically it's been deemed it is a Talamati, but it's not the one that we first thought. So it is a different Talamati that is around, and so we have him that's joined, and he's a beautiful example of a lion. Now I just want to try and get around these guys, because we've been kind of following these back ends of lions all morning, so it'll be nice just to start to actually see a bit more of their faces. Now they're heading straight towards Treehouse Dam. I don't know if these lions are actually going to stay on our side by the end of today. Hold on, David, let's get around them quickly. We're going to just go and park ourselves slightly ahead of the pride and just wait for all of them to start coming our way. Rachel, will lions kill hyenas if they can get a hold of them? It does happen, but that's more out of just competition than it is out of a food source. So they're just doing it because there's competition obviously amongst them, and so they just try and kind of reduce competition by killing another predator. So it's not actually a kind of food thing. Look at this though, isn't this magic? It's quite something to see a pride of lions like this. When you see 15 lions that are not, none of them are cubs, it's a serious pride. But let's just count how many we've got today. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think all 15 are here, which is good news. No, we've got 14 is what I can count at the moment. We'll have to wait for them. I'm pretty sure they're going to go to Treehouse Dam. If they do, then hopefully they'll all line up together, and then we'll be able to see exactly how many are here. Mike, how big can a pride get? Well, prides can get very large. I mean, there's some prides that are in the eastern part of Kruger National Park that have gone close to 40 before, which is a very large pride. And what keeps them in check is food. It's impossible for prides of 40 lions to really sustain that because of the amount of food that they require. You can imagine even this grouping here, a single buffalo is going to be eaten in a night. There will be nothing left of it, and I wouldn't be surprised we see a split in the Nkuhuma pride shortly, because to keep these guys all fed is going to be almost impossible. It's a serious amount of food that is needed to survive for these guys to sustain themselves. Right, let's just keep up with the pride though, because they are still moving and going away from us. And heading, like I say, towards Treehouse Dam is a rough kind of way. They're going to be very disappointed when they get there, because there's no water for them at all. And I'm a bit disappointed because I've always wanted to get that Nkuhuma pride kind of line up at a water point. Particularly now there's 15 of them. It would be quite something. But alas, there's not going to be enough water even for 15 of them to spend any time around. And so that's probably going to mean that they're just going to move straight southwards and head off kind of deeper into Little Gowrie probably, and it is going to mean that they're going to settle down. Now, I'm also hoping that they eventually do settle on our side. Brady, how much do one pride eat in a day? Well, I mean, it's obviously dependent on what is available and what there is around. But I mean, essentially you could find that these guys I mean, also, I suppose it depends on how many are in the pride too, because, you know, pride of 2 or 3 versus a pride of 20 is a very different amount of food that's needed. And you must remember that they don't hunt every single day, and even if they do hunt every single day, they're not successful in catching food every single day. So, you know, it always just depends on whether or not, or the size and those kind of things. But, you know, it's difficult to know how much a pride eats in a single day. Sometimes they go for a week without food, and then they'll kill something like a buffalo and they'll eat that whole thing, and then the next day they'll find, you know, an impala or whatever it may be. So it's always difficult to know for sure, but it seems like they're starting to slow down a little bit, which is good news. There's a few of the adult females every now and then just lying up and resting every now and again, which is a good sign. It means that they're getting sort of tired of walking too fast, because at the moment we're walking very quickly, and that means at this rate that we'd be out of here in no time, which we don't want. We want the Nkuhuma Pride to stick around. I'm very surprised that they didn't have more of a go at those buffalo. Now, all the viewers, you all are saying that you loved my maths. Which maths? My maths of counting how many animals are in the pride. Well, what's that one just picked up? That one's picked up something. What is that? What have you grabbed there? I have no idea what that is. Yes, Emma, it's a wig. I know I misplaced my wig somewhere. It was actually James Hendry's wig. I borrowed it from him like his walking stick, and I misplaced it. Maybe his walking stick is also here, but yes, James Hendry's wig is being carried off by an Nkuhuma Pride member and is being taken away and moved off, which is not ideal. Sorry, James, don't worry. We'll try and recover it for you. Why that lion has picked that up, I have absolutely no idea. It looks like grass. It does not look like an animal's fur at all. So who knows what is... Lions are funny creatures sometimes. I suppose it's something Hosana would also do, so... Hello, girl. You've got blood all over your face. What's going on with you? And blood on the side as well? I wonder if these guys didn't kill a baby buffalo or something between them, because there's blood on a couple of them, and I wonder if maybe a small buffalo didn't get taken, and that's why they're abandoning the sort of hunt now. But she's definitely got blood on her and on her face and on her flanks as she walks around. Interesting. Don't know, maybe there's some sort of sign of food. There's a bit of games being played up ahead, so we're going to just try and kind of catch up again. It's so wonderful though to see these guys walking through these thickets. I thoroughly enjoy watching kind of lions walking around, and like I say, when you've got this many lions walking about, it really is quite something. I also can't see a thing because the sun is it's at an awkward angle at the moment. I'm going to try and kind of turn a little bit. All right, Nkuhumas. Can we not walk on the roads, rather? Please. The problem is with this place is you've got to be very careful. Lots of little stumps in this block. Right, now while we catch up and see where they're off to, let's send you back across to Sydney and find out how his leopard tracking has been going.
I am now going in circles here. The tracks are just going everywhere. As I indicated earlier, that this cat is on a hunt at the moment. So I am right in this block to try. Now let's quickly go to Brent.
Guys, we've just found a honey badger. I was a bit jealous of Tristan and the lions. Now I'm not at all. Look at them go. I love the way they run. Now this is a honey badger. This area is probably I've seen the most honey badgers in. Actually, even seen them on bushwalk here. He's moving between a herd of impala at the moment. He's got quite a big scar on his back. Have you seen this one before?
It looks like the chilled one that I had with James one day for.
So Seb says
45 minutes.
45 minutes they spent. Well, maybe we'll be lucky enough.
Yeah,
Let's try sneak up a bit closer. Oopsie! I'm so excited. I stalled nearly twice. So you see, there's a very distinct sort of scar on its back. I still see him. He's chilled. Very relaxed. This is a treat. Hi, guy. Isn't that awesome? It's digging up something. So they really love dung beetle larvae. So often, if a dung beetle's buried its dung ball, it'll hear or smell the dung beetle grubs under the ground. And when you find broken open dung balls, it's quite often a honey badger, but in this case I think it might be digging up a scorpion. It's another one of their favorite foods, and when you find where they've been digging, you just often find just the pincers and the sting left as they've munched through the rest of the scorpion. This is so cool. Okay, we're gonna let our friends on the great wide web join us, so I'm gonna be quiet for a few seconds. Welcome live to Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Greater Kruger National Park, and we're sitting with one of our favorite creatures, the honey badger. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Sebastian Romby on camera. We don't get to see these guys too often. Oh, it's on the move again. And often when we see them, it's such a fleeting visual. But this seems to be a very relaxed one. Hunting for scorpions and dung beetles, snakes, lizards, anything you can. Okay, I'm just going to move forward a little bit so we can see through. Now, normally they disappear at a rate of knots. Paula is wondering, is the honey badger population large? Not large per se, Paula, but very widespread. They don't occur in big numbers. They're quite territorial, so they'll actually fight each other for territory. Oh, we can hear a hyena whooping in the behind us somewhere. And in this part of the world, they're mostly nocturnal. So to see one out during the day foraging like this, oh, look at that, isn't that magic? Now, they are one of the toughest animals in the African bush. Even lions are scared of them, and one of their defenses against big cats is their skin. They've got a very loose skin, so it's very difficult for a predator to actually grab hold of a honey badger. It almost turns around in its skin. Also, like the northern hemisphere skunks, they've got anal glands that spray a nasty concoction. That also helps keep other predators away from them. Oh, this one is so relaxed. Absolutely stunning. Dina is wondering, do they stay in pairs? They do to a degree, but they are not monogamous. But the females will keep their little ones with them for quite some time. Oh, what's it found? No, nothing. I'm hoping we might see it dig up a scorpion, which is one of their favorite foods. Oh, sorry about that. Was that my game drive radio? Isn't this absolutely awesome? Now, of course, they've got a very, very varied diet. A true omnivore. Fruit. Oh, see, you've got me. Are they true badgers? I'm not sure. They are their own family in Africa. There's no one else in their family. I don't think they're true badgers like the badgers you would get in the northern hemisphere. But this one is very relaxed. Normally we just see glimpses of them darting off into the distance. They're like little armored tanks. Oh dear, I think we're going to lose sight of it now because it's heading into some thick bush and we're not going to be able to follow. I think it'll run if we try. Okay. That was really incredible. Not an animal we get to see often live, because remember, this is 100% live. Very, very exciting to see the honey badger, and hopefully we see it more often in this area on the eastern fringes of Djuma Private Game Reserve. But for now, we're going to say toodaloo, goodbye, and see you later. Wow, wasn't that cool, guys? I'm going to try follow it from a distance and see if we can get another visual of it, but unfortunately it's gone into some really thick stuff. Let me try to go forward a little bit. We might get one last glimpse. You can just see it there to the left of that termite mound, Seb. There we go. There it is. Diggy, 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 diggy. Foraging about. This is definitely the longest honey badger sighting I've had here. Oh, now where? Let's try backwards again. See it, Seb? Has it done a disappearing act on us? I think it has. I think it's gone into those little thickets now. You see? Me neither. Oh dear. Let's just sit for a second and look. Maybe it pops out again. We don't want to disturb it too much. I've seen a female with 3 babies following her around in this area on bushwalk. But I'm going to sit here for a little bit longer. Hopefully the honey badger pops out. In the meantime, Tristan's still with the Nkaumas.
Well, hopefully, Brenty, and I'm very jealous. It sounds like an epic sighting of a honey badger. It's not every day that you get to see one of those, and for as long as Brent had it, is pretty special. Now, we're sitting here at the moment just waiting for the lions to come through. They are walking straight at us towards Treehouse Dam, so we just thought we'd come ahead of them and just wait for them. They're not far, they're about 100 meters, but it also seems like a perfect time to be able to welcome Hayden Turner and Taronga Zoo that is joining us this morning. Now, Hayden, some of you might remember Hayden. He actually did some stuff with us here at SafariLive, and so he is as much a part of the team as anybody else, and it's always nice to have him along for the ride, and all of his kids and everything else that is going to be joining us. So it's a very warm welcome to all of you. I hope that you're going to love the fact that you're on safari in Africa in real time, and remember that you must ask lots and lots of questions, and we'll try and answer as many as we can. Now, what we're waiting for at the moment, as I was saying earlier, is a pride of lions to come our way. I had a very definite count of how many there are, so there are 14 in total here. Definitely the 3 sub-adult Mangains, there is the Talamati male, and then all of the Nkumas bar 1 sub-adult female, which is a bit worrying. So I'm not sure which sub-adult female it is, but she is missing. It seems like all 5 of the adult lionesses are also here. Now, theoretically, they should be approaching us just on the sort of right-hand side of that big tree that you see closest to us. That's where they should kind of be coming along. That was roughly the path that they were taking at one point. Now, you'll hear the go-away birds in the background. You'll you'll hear this wah sound. Now that is a go-away bird that is shouting at the moment, probably because that go-away bird can see those lions already. Up high in the tree, it can see a long way further than what we can, and so it'll be able to hear them and see them and be able to then alarm call and warn everybody, I've seen a predator. Now you'll also notice that there'll be other vehicles that are going to join us in this area, and that's pretty typical for this particular section because we do have tourism that takes place. The unfortunate thing about what's about to happen is that we're right at the end of our dry season at the moment, and so typically when we are around this sort of time, water is very difficult to find, and we're at one of the points where generally water always is around. So there we go, you can just start to see them kind of moving through. You see those light shapes coming towards us? Well, they are heading this way because where we are right now is supposed to be a water point. So this is an area where generally there is water, but because we've had a few years of very dry weather, unfortunately a lot of our dams and a lot of our water points have dried up, and there's actually no water where these guys are about to come to. They're expecting to arrive at a beautiful pan where they can have a drink. They've been very active this morning. They obviously were chasing buffalo just now, and they weren't successful, but they'll be thirsty, and so they're going to expect to come to a really nice water hole, except that there is no water here whatsoever, and that's going to mean that they're going to have to then push on to the next one and the next one after that, because the one after this is also dry, and they'll have to go a long way until they can get it. But there you can see their pride starting to emerge on the right hand side. Look at this, isn't this wonderful? Now you'll see them all starting to come to us. It's going to be so cool because they're going to walk right at us, and they should walk right in front of the car. It's such a special thing to be able to sit here with lions like this and watch them walking right at you. Look at that. You see how they're all emerging? So Leah, who's 10 years old, is asking, what's my favorite animal to be around and to see? Well, Leah, my favorite animal is a leopard. I love spending time with leopards. They are by far my favorite. They are beautiful, powerful creatures. And so as much as I like the lions, the leopards for me are even better. And so I spend most of my time looking for leopards. This morning, though, we got lucky because we found the tracks for these lions, and we were able to find tracks for buffalo, and we found them pretty quickly, which is very, very cool. So it was a very good thing that we did. Now you can see they're going to walk off towards the water, and they're going to be very, very disappointed as to what's going on because there's no water there. Right, now my friend Brent has got a very special animal that is back on camera, so before it runs away, let's send you to him.
Well, we've managed to catch up with this honey badger, so we just sat quietly and watched for a while, and it came back towards us, and then I tested to see how relaxed it was with the vehicle, and it is very relaxed. So we decided to see if we could follow it. Okay, let's move again. This is incredible. I haven't had a honey badger sighting like this on Djuma ever. I've seen lots of them, but it's a normally quick, fleeting glance. Caroline is wondering, what do honey badgers eat? Everything, Caroline. They eat snakes, scorpions, and insects, dung beetle larvae, but of course they are very famous for raiding beehives, hence the name the honey badger. I'm just trying to get to a spot where we can see it nicely again. Thank you so much, Tracy. The honey badger has swag like me. This one has serious swag because we're now less than 10 meters away from it, and it's still just carrying on with its business. Come, look this way. Look at us. Achoo, achoo. Oh, that's awesome. This one is seriously relaxed. I wonder if it's the one that raids the Chitwa Chitwa kitchen. Look, there's that honey badger jog that's just epic. It's that no one will mess with me. No one will mess with me. If you try mess with me, I'll mess with you back, and I'll win even though I weigh less than 10 kilograms. I think it's mostly sort of hunting for scorpions at the moment, by the looks of things. So probably a Pistothalmus glabrifons, the shiny burrowing scorpion. So I think it's basically moving around looking for fresh holes. Okay, let's catch up again. I don't want to drive over too many branches that make a noise. It's just so relaxed. I want to keep it that way. I want it to make sure it has a positive experience. Aegis says, is the scar very visible? It is. We'll try to show it to you now, Aegis. It's on its back. I've lost sight of it, Seb. Do you still... It was coming this way. Oh, there it is, right here. Kendall is wondering whether honey badgers are endangered. Not at all. They're quite widespread, so we should be able to see the scar there now. You can just see on its back. There's the scar. It could have been bitten by something, but it's healed quite well. You can see it's not impeding the badger's movement at all. Al is wondering, are there predators that particularly hunt honey badgers? No, Al. Most predators will try avoid them. They're occasionally killed by lion and leopard, but very unusual. And oh, we're going to have honey badgers and elephants soon together. Here we go. Honey badger and elephants. There's the honey badger, and just above them. Oh, sniffy, sniffy. There's a herd of elephants that the honey badger is heading towards. There, the Eddie's there. Oh, lovely. Okay, the badger's getting some distance on it. Let's try to keep up. Everyone's wondering whether the honey badgers are probably going to take on the elephant. I think they'll probably just avoid each other. The badger might just walk past. There's no need for either of them to get into each other's space, but who knows, maybe the honey badger will just decide it wants to chase an elephant because it can. I doubt though. Oh, he's found something. I'm just going to get onto the road. This is amazing. This is incredible. This is amazing. Oh, backlit honey badger. Isn't this splendid? It's found something to dig. So I said, I'm just going to take my foot off the brake. There we go. It's found something to dig. Look at that. It is absolutely... Oh, seen the elephants. Doesn't like the elephants. There's more elephants that way. Might come back for... It's just here. Might come back for whatever it was digging at before it got disturbed by the eddies. Oh, has it found something else to dig? just move up a bit. This is incredible. I've had some excellent honey badgers sightings in my time, but this is up there. Most of them been in the Okavango Delta. Oh, he crossed the road too quickly. Just going around the elephant herd. Oh, let's find something else to dig. Say when, Seb. I think there's going to be a gap there.
Yeah.
No, nothing that interesting to dig. Oh, this is amazing. Now they're quite long-loved. Quite long-lived. They can live for about 24, 25 years. So that's also quite awesome. Okay, now I'm going to try find a way to keep with it. And just to let you know, Emma, for some reason my comms are playing up. You're very, very soft, and I've put you on full volume, so I'm not sure what's going on. So if I'm driving, I can't hear you, but I'll stop now to answer some more questions. I think we can get in there now. It's not often you just drive past an elephant herd to stay with another animal. And normally if you do, it's for lions and leopards, but I'm going to do it for a honey badger. And so, I mean, we're following it like we would follow one of the big cats. It's so relaxed. Hello, Trouble. There you can see that scar quite clearly on its back there. Natasha is wondering, are honey badgers solitary or do they live in groups? For the most part they are solitary, Natasha. But during the breeding season, which is May, they will move around and hunt in pairs or groups. It's very difficult to see whether this one is a male or female. Paul is wondering, do they have all their babies at one time? Yes, and they will have them in a den under the ground. And they, unlike a lot of other animals of their size, they actually, I remembered now, they're not, as I say, they're not true badgers at all. They're more closely related to weasels. They are mustelid. And yes, they do. So they're very capable of digging their own holes, but they will also sometimes use abandoned aardvark burrows. But most of the time, they will dig their own holes. Let's hope it finds a scorpion or something to dig out, so it doesn't keep us on the move. Dup, 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 dup. I love that jog. Now, one of the strangest sightings I've ever had with honey badger is I found a dead honey badger on the edge of the Quando River that had been killed by a crocodile but not eaten. been bitten by a crocodile on the banks of the river, but not eaten. Nico Akai would like to know, what is the natural enemy of a badger? Very little, to be honest. But it would be lions, leopards. I'll probably kill the most honey badgers. This is getting a little bit thick. Let's go through here. So lions and leopards. But then again, most lions and leopards will give them a relatively wide berth. It's just not worth the effort, and they fight back and they bite, and especially with that anal gland that sprays a foul concoction. Now, I've had my own personal wars with the honey badgers. Oh, there we go, let's find something to dig. And when we were moving, I had all my stuff at my parents' house, and there was a big plastic box of clothes outside, and I thought, oh, nothing's going to play with it. Maybe the hyenas, but I'll hear them and I'll chase them. This honey badger got into this box. For what reason, I still have no... Wait, did he find something? They're eating. For what reason, I still have absolutely no idea. And I had to sweep it away with a broom, and it was getting very angry with me, going and sort of hissing at me, tail bristling. And in certain parts of Africa, they're very famous for attacking kitchens and chasing kitchen staff out to steal what food's inside. It would be quite special if we had a sighting of leopards or lions with honey badgers. I was just thinking maybe Tlalamba hasn't learnt about honey badgers yet. Be a very quick learning curve for little Tlalamba. Let me try to get you past that stick there, Seb. Unfortunately, at some reason, Emma's comms are just getting softer and softer. Let me just try to plug this in again. Volume's on full. I just heard Ramona. Yes, they're mustelids. Yes, they are related to skunks. Ramona, they are related to skunks. They're in the same family. Trying to... Oof. Where are you going? Oh, that's what I was worried about. There's a lot of aardvark burrows in this area. We just broke into one. There we go. There's a Tundi sighting, Tundi and Tlalamba sighting here a long time ago, where I saw a big Land Cruiser get very stuck in a hole very close to here. Okay, should get a nice view again now. Try to get past this little tree. Oh, going into some very thick stuff now. We're going to try follow it, but I think it might give us the slip through this broken country here. Okay, This is going to be tricky, but we'll try. Natasha, how big are honey badgers? They're quite small. Natasha probably stand about this tall, about this long. What dog size? About the length, yeah, but like a very long Jack Russell. They weigh a bit more. They probably weigh about up to. Oh, sorry, Seb, you okay?
Yeah, all good.
Could have been worse. They weigh between sort of 8 and 12 kilograms. Just taking us into some rough stuff here. Oh, it's digging again. Maybe it'll catch a scorpion for us right here. It's right next to us. Digging, digging, digging. Hey, you. Dig, 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 dig. Let's see what it digs up. There's that scar on her, or his back. Can't really tell it's a male or female yet. Digging. Come on, pull out a scorpion. This is incredible. Less than sort of 4 meters away from us. This is the most relaxed honey badger in the Sabi Sands. There's definitely something that's caught its attention in the hole there. Oh, it's all happening this morning, but quickly across to Tristan. And no, it is all happening this morning, because now, not only we had the lions with buffalo, one of Africa's iconic big animals, but now they've just walked straight into a herd of ellies, which means that this is going to get quite interesting quite quickly. I'm pretty sure the ellies are not going to be impressed that there are lions all over the place. Now, generally when elephants see lions, it's quite chaotic, and you'll find a lot of trumpeting and chasing around. And so what we're going to do is we're going to position ourselves right here in the hope that we are not going to get ourselves squashed. We've got a nice little kind of thicket to protect us, and all the lions are sort of settling down now, as if to say, hang on a second, we actually can't get around these ellies for now. Let's wait for them all to move off. But absolutely incredible to have these guys in the same kind of place as ellies is very, very special. And you'll find that the ellies, even though lions always referred to as the king of the sort of jungle and the king of the savannas, the ellies actually are the real bosses out here, because when they see lions, they will chase lions. Lions will always give way to ellies, and you can actually see all the lions now have stopped in their tracks. So they've now decided this is where they're going to settle. They're going to sit in the shade and just try and see if the ellies will move off. And I'm a bit kind of surprised that the ellies actually haven't picked them up yet. I mean, the distance that they're at to these elephants would kind of normally we would find that they would have reacted by now and picked up not only their scent but just the movement of them approaching. But for some reason the ellies haven't picked it up. They're too busy feeding at the moment. So look at that. Isn't that special? So cool to see the kind of big animals like this interact with one another at times. Now, I'm pretty sure what we're going to find is that the ellies, while they're feeding, they're going to slowly shift not too far from where we are, and whether they spot these lions is going to be determined on whether or not there's a wind that's going to blow from them. If the lions all lie down and the wind blows towards the ellies, then you will definitely see the ellies react. Now, Tatiana, will the ellies create a barricade? Well, they have created one already. Lions know that an elephant is an incredibly powerful animal. It's strong, it's well built, and that it's not something to play around with. And so you'll find as soon as they see these ellies, that's why they've just all gone down and lay flat. And as soon as the ellies move off, then you might find they'll stand up and move again. But until then, they're going to take it very, very easy. You'll also notice that some of the ellies now already have started to move off. That's because they've got little babies, and I think they picked up the scent of these lions, because they all put their heads up quickly and they sniffed, and now they're starting to move a little bit quicker away, which is going to be interesting. I was wondering whether or not they were going to move towards these lions, but at this stage it seems as though everything is going to be okay and the lions won't have to get chased too much this morning. Julie, how many male lions are in this pride?
At the moment, there are five young male lions in this pride. There is one male lion that is originally born to the 5 females, that's the 5 adult females, and then there is 3 young males that joined from another pride and 1 young male that's joined from another pride. So that's the 5 young boys that we've got at the moment. That's the original male that is actually really part of the pride. He's the one that, was born into this particular pride, and then in the last, I'd say it's probably the last 3 months, they've absorbed another 4 males, which is really good for that particular male, even though the 3 of the males that have joined this pride are what is known as mangy. So they have got a skin disease called mange, which is a mite that goes onto their skin and basically causes them to scratch uncontrollably, and they lose their fur. And that little mite, it can be very, very serious for lions, and it makes them kind of go into bad condition. And so those 3 males, while they have it, they will eventually recover from it and will be okay, but it's going to take a while for them to kind of get over it and to recover. But for the young male that was born to this pride, he was on his own at one point, and that would have been exceptionally dangerous for him as a individual. He would have really struggled. But now that he's got probably 4 others that potentially are going to join him, it should stand him in much better stead to survive. So these are 2 of the mangy males that are coming past us now. You can see, look, they've got these little black patches on their skin, but they are looking a lot better than what they used to. How cool is this? Look at this. These lions are walking right past us. It's so cool when they do this. The rest of the pride is all coming along. Hello, guys. There's one that's going to walk right next to David. Look at that. That's very, very cool. Look at this. There's just lions all around us. Hello, guys. Very, very special to be able to sit amongst wild lions like this and be able to have them walk all the way around you and not care about you is a very, very, very cool thing. Now, I must be honest, there's one lioness that I haven't seen this morning, which is a lioness we call Amber Eyes. I haven't picked her up in all of this. Maybe it's that last lioness that's sitting there. No, is that her? It doesn't look like her. No, it's not her. So that might mean that the other sub-adult is actually here, because there's definitely no sign that I can see of Amber Eyes, she's a very, very, very pretty female with these kind of amberish colored eyes, and she's beautiful. And I haven't seen her this morning. She might have been here and I might have just missed her, but I definitely haven't seen her yet. But the pride, you can see, has just done a big loop around these elephants at the moment. They're slowly but surely going to move around, and they're trying to get to another water point, but like I said, that other water point is dry, unfortunately, so even if they head that way, they're going to struggle. Right, let's try and keep up with them as they go along and try and see if we can kind of see where they go. There's one more lion that's still going to come past us. Here's the other male that's joined the pride. He's in much better condition than those 3 mangy were males. He's a bigger boy than all of them, actually. He's a very pretty young boy that's going to come past. So he's about, we reckon, close to about 3 years old, this guy. So he's going to be a formidable force to join the pride, and definitely is going to really help that young male that was already born to these guys. Is going to make life a lot easier for him. Good. So now they seem to be avoiding the Ellies very well, so we're going to try and just keep up with the lions. We'll come back to the Ellies just now if the lions settle in the shade, so we won't leave them for too long, but let's see if we can go and keep up with these guys and see where they're heading. I'm pretty sure they're going for water. Adam, who would I rather win a fight with or have a fight with? A lion or a tiger? Adam, I don't know. That's a tricky one, because I'll tell you why. Tigers are bigger than lions, so they are big and strong and powerful, and that makes them a formidable force. But lions generally are not on their own, and there's a pride of them, and that can make life a little bit more difficult. So I don't know, it's a tough question. I think neither, to be honest. I really wouldn't want to fight with either of these, because us as humans, we don't have sharp teeth, we don't have sharp claws, we're really not any good at being able to actually defend ourselves against big cats like this that hunt and try and kill animals for a living. Right, these Inkumas are going to go, this is the name of the pride, is the Inkumas. They look like they're going to cross out of our area, unfortunately, so it looks like we're going to get maybe one last view of them before they do that. Let's just try and get around all of this thicket. There's some more elephants actually over there that they're walking past. I think through here should be okay. We can fit in this little section. Right, there we go. Now we've managed to squeeze through. There the lions are. Isn't that wonderful? So we'll just kind of come up and you'll see a really nice, beautiful view of not only the lions, but an elephant too. So if I just get over here, look at that, David. Isn't that cool? So some ellies, some lions. Now I wonder if she's going to chase them. She might. She's thinking about it at this stage. She's deciding whether or not she actually wants to chase these lions, or if she's just going to stand and watch them go past. Sometimes you'll find when they've got a calf, they don't want to run away from their calf because that obviously can endanger the calf itself. So they'll just let the lions kind of ghost past. As long as the lions aren't being aggressive, she doesn't mind too much. And she's put herself between the calf and the threat, and therefore everything is okay. But unfortunately, that's going to be the last of the lions that we're going to see this morning, because that is them going into a different property where we don't traverse. And so we're unfortunately going to have to leave them right there. There's also a number of other cars that are going to come into this area, and so we're going to have to kind of pull out. Beautiful though, to see them kind of walking past an ellie bull like that is quite special. Very, very cool. I was wondering if they might settle down, but I think they're so thirsty that they just want to kind of carry on and try and find water more than they actually want to settle. I'm pretty sure the young males want to lie down and sleep, but they're being dragged by the females. You can see the females are the ones kind of leading the way, and that's meaning that they're all kind of just filing sort of along, trying to keep up and try and get themselves some water, and then they'll kind of sleep as soon as the water's done. There's one last female that's actually going to cross the road in front of us, David, which will be quite nice. Catherine, you say you shocked ellies with honey badger and ellies with lions. I know it's been an epic morning. That honey badger sounds ridiculous. So super cool that Brent managed to find that. And well, we've had a great sighting of our own in the form of these lions, and the kind of, not only with buffalo, we've had them with zebras, and now we've had them also with ellies. So it's been a special morning for us, and we've seen quite a bit of them as they've gone. But unfortunately, like I say, they are going to disappear in the next 2 seconds, and that's going to be the end of that. When it comes to the lions, I was hoping that they were going to stay here today and that they weren't going to disappear off our property. Okay, well, we're going to have to carry on and move along, and while I do that, let's send you back across to Brent, who I think is still following that ridiculously relaxed honey badger.
Okay, we're still with our honey badger friend. Nearly lost it when it went to some thick stuff, but we managed to catch up. Still on a mission. Searching, digging. There. There, digging in that little piece of grass where you were a little bit to the right. But there. There. Sorry, Emma, can you go again, please? Paula is wondering, do honey badgers make a noise? Yes, they can hiss, and when they communicate with each other, particularly during the breeding season, they have sort of a whine, that they whine at each other. Let's try and get a little bit closer, see what it's found there. This is nothing. It's unsuccessful. On the move again. Stopping, sniffing, listening, digging. to go through some tough country again. This is incredible. And how long have we been following this honey badger for now, Seb? 45 minutes. Okay, I need to try catch up again. Okay, while we keep up with our badger friend, let's go see what Sydney has been up to on foot.
I've got this lovely spider here, right on a spider web. This is one of the sit-and-wait predators. Clever, clever animals, because they don't want to waste energy for going to hunt. All they want is to wait until something comes. Clever, isn't it? So the insects that we are seeing now, this is the green link spider. You know, the spiders, it's just moving a lot because of the wind is blowing. So you can see that the wind is too much. This wind helps them in order to build these webs. So the interesting part of the spiders is that some of them, you see them during the winter season. Spiders are cold-blooded, but you can see them during the winter season. Then some of them, you'll see them now by the spring. Those who you are seeing during the winter season, they have got an antifreeze. An antifreeze which is similar like the antifreeze you are using by the vehicle in order to prevent them from freezing. So you can see they are very much well-gifted animals. So this spider is not having anything, and it's very difficult to follow because the wind is blowing too much. So these insects can be able to stay relaxed at the same position in order to avoid a lot of movement and just be active when a prey comes. That is when you will see him then acting in order to catch the prey. But I can see that this one is very difficult to film. Sorry. So we're just going to carry on now and see if we can find any other interesting thing. And behind me, I can see there's a very big jackalberry tree. See, this jackalberry trees is one of those trees animals are using, such as leopards, in order to hide their prey. And this tree is one of the medicinal use tree. If you come and take the leaves of the jackalberry, in Venda we call it musuma. And these trees, they are occurring a lot where I come from. The berries, we eat them. And they've got quite a lot of flesh on them. Some they eat the skin as well. Some only eat the inner parts. If you come and take the leaves, you can use the leaves in order to, you can stick it against the bleeding wound in order to stop bleeding, because it has got quite a lot of tannin which helps them in order to stop this bleeding. Apart from that, it has got kind of an antibiotic substance in the leaves which helps as well to heal the wounds. So this is a healing tree. When you're injured, you must look for the jackalberry. Safari Sally, one of the venomous spiders here in South Africa is the black button spider. That one can be very much dangerous. And not only the black button spider is venomous, there are other spiders which are also venomous. The thing is, the type of venom the spider is carrying is what caused the problems. So the spiders who are having the dangerous venom is the one that will cause you a problem. We have got three types of venoms. We have got the cytotoxic venom, which only affect your tissue skin. When you're bitten, only your tissue skin is going to have a problem. Then we have got neurotoxic venom, which affect your nervous coordination. Then we have got the hemotoxic venom, which is a venom affecting your blood. So that is the most dangerous type of venom, which can cause you a big problem in the body. So we are just going to carry on and see if we can find you more other interesting. So the jackalberry tree cannot help with the spider bites, but the spider bites, you can use trees such as the sickle bush. The sickle bush helps when it comes to the scorpion stings, spider bites, as well as snake bites. That one I trust because it's a tree that I grew up seeing, helping people against those kind of bites. So still looking to see if we are going to experience any other interesting tiny little animals. Oh, there's a call from the Francolin. Maybe it's about our presence in the area. Because that Francolin just flew away. It's not like when these Francolins are seeing cats, such as leopards, they don't make noise and fly. They just communicate to each other while at the same, you will hear them at the same position, not flying. When it's flying like that, it means it's also threatened. Maybe that is because of our presence in the area. So I didn't copy that. FC, if you can repeat the question. So the squirrels are very much quiet at the moment. They are not making noise. So it seems like Hosanna is somewhere deep in this block because we have been going around in circles to try and check if he has crossed the road. But according to the evidence, he is still in the block, which is a block where we are heading to now. So maybe his hunting activities has been consolidated already. Not too sure. We'll see when we get there. Taronga Zoo, a very good bye. And thank you very much for the comments. So you can see that here, these animals are building their own fence. So the trees are broken and then other branches are lying to this side, whereas others are lying to that side. But these are all the evidence that the big animal, the elephant, has been here. So elephant is the one who can be able to arrange the branches like this. A lot of evidence are showing that here, elephant has been in this area. So now let's go back to Brent, who has got his lovely honey badger, something I am still waiting to see here in Juma.
We're still with the badger. This is incredible. And we've been zigzagging, watching it forage, checking under branches and bark and digging. Go out into the open a bit. You can see how they walk with those, well, there's the jog, how they sort of flick their front legs forward because their claws are very long. Lou is wondering, where do badgers sleep? Under the ground, in either burrows that they've dug for themselves or in disused aardvark burrows. We saw him go down a hole and we thought, oh, maybe it's bedtime, it's getting a bit hot, but no, he just went to go have a sniff, see what was there, and then out it came again. Heading towards Cheetah Cut Line now. Oh, and crossing into Torchwood, so we shall do the same. Got it? Oh!
I didn't mean that.
Ow! Oh! He's suddenly decided it's time to move a bit faster. Jogged across the fire break.
Oh.
What? I can't hear, sorry. So Tristan's on Torchwood. I thought he was with the Lions. Are you sure? Let me just call Tristan. Tristan.
Hey, Brent.
What's your position?
I'm on Torchwood Fire Break, G-Plains driveway junction, following up on the Madashia.
Okay, copy. Okay, guys. So that's goodbye for the badger. Yeah, he just crossed the fire break. Well, we can just see him still in the distance.
Yeah, I'm back onto value, man. You can follow in for a bit. Just tell me when you're done there, though.
It's fine. He's heading into quite a thick block. We've been with him for an hour. Okay. Bye-bye, little badger. Unfortunately, he is headed off.
Just put me on the land there, please. Okay, copy. I didn't even know that they relocated.
Wasn't that incredible? Absolutely amazing. How long? An hour? At least an hour with the honey badger. Unbelievable. I'm still just in awe of that sighting. Yes. Hopefully the dogs run past Tristan and come to us here. So Tristan is following up on reports of wild dogs. I'm going to have a quick chat to him, see which way they're going, see if we can position ourselves in case they do come this way. In the meantime, let's send you back to Sydney on foot.
I am here still trying to get you see something, and I have been looking and looking and looking. Here where I am, it looks very, very much dry. So the insects, they are hiding at the moment. There's not much for them here to eat. I can see that no movement at all. So now let me try and carefully look here and see if we can find anything interesting. Oh, the only thing I found is a spider web. Maybe there's a spider which is about to construct a web, because when they are constructing, normally they stick their webs from the branch and the wind then blows them to this side, to another branch. Can you see that web? It's quite a very difficult line to see, but I can see it. So this is what is helping the spiders in order to catch their prey, because the prey cannot see it as they're flying. They just go fly onto it and get sticked, and then they will be able to catch. I can see here. But sometimes spiders can use the silk in order to mark their territories. So the silk is very important, and sometimes it can serve as a glue, because some of the spiders, where they are walking, they can secrete the silk so that they avoid the predators to come from behind. And some, after mating, they can be able to seal their females so that no one can come and mate with them afterwards. That is something very interesting. So to avoid competition, they just seal the female. And that's it. And none of the other spiders, male spiders, are going to be able to take off the seal until that spider lays eggs. So spiders are also like the big animals. When they come to the demarcation point, the rivals can be able to sniff and know that here I can see the previous male has been here a week ago and how old is he and how strong is that one. They can be able to get information from just one string of a silk. Carl says they sorry, the dung beetles, they are little bit of dung beetles available. I've seen them before, but not too much. The big ones are not yet back at the moment. I am waiting for them to come back. I am going to enjoy the dung beetles when they come back after the heavy rains. So look at this. So this is what causes a big problem in the environment. If you look at these grasses, you can see that it's densely populated and is overgrown. So this is a high fuel load. When there are fires, this is what causes quite a lot of fuel for the fire to burn. So you can see that this area is densely populated and is very much hazardous when there are fires in the area. So fires are very much important in this ecology because they can reduce the fuel load. And apart from that, they also stimulate the growth of the new grass. So the weather in this area is so very much unpredictable. I was just trying to look at the sky, but I can see that it's very, very much clear. There is no sign of rain at the moment. No prediction of rain has been given for this week, but it can always change. So we'll hear as time goes on. But at this stage, I can promise you the vegetation is completely dry. And animals, they have not yet shown signs as well with regards to this lack of nutritious grass. They are all still very much healthy and looking in a very good condition. So maybe we will start to read the new conditions in 2 weeks' time. So quite a lot of dams, quite a lot of dams at this stage, they are becoming dry as well. And when these dams are becoming dry is when now animals are going to move long distances, and without feeding on nutritious grass, that might also cause them to start losing some weight. And Nana, the most scariest thing I have seen on bushwalk, it was the Mozambican spitting cobra. I was once on a guided walk, and I was just shortly after my first appointment as a guide. And I was leading, we were following the elephants. And not very far away from me, there was a little bush, and a Mozambican spitting cobra was right there, just standing like this, moving like this. I nearly went right on it, and then I saw it from a distance, and then I had to reverse, and that is how we avoided the situation. And then it just went somewhere in between the small bushes, and that is how it got disappeared. I love snakes, but I was scared that day. Yeah, it was a very, very scary experience. Trying to search if I can find some small things here, but it seems like it's too dry. So the insects, they normally go to the areas where there is quite a lot of water and some fruits and green leaves, where they know that other insects are attracted and they can get benefit when they go there. So now let's go back to Brent, who is still now having the honey badger. I think he's moving away now from the honey badger.
I'm still just sitting quietly and reflecting on how awesome that honey badger was. It was absolutely astounding. I mean, I don't even know if I want to see anything else this morning. I'm just quite happy to just sort of bask and bumble. Now, I'm going to have a quick look around. Oh. We've got some interesting tracks here. Who can tell me what's happened here? Who can tell me what's happened here on the ground? One male lion, 5 females in Buffalo's Hook. Okay, so let's figure out what's going on here. If you see, there's been some animals. They've moved around like this, and then like this. And I'm pretty sure they were going, wow, 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 look at the sunset, wow, 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 wow. So this is a drink stop. You can just see lots of people all around in the same place. So I think someone had a sundowner here last night. That's all the tracks I've got for you at the moment. It's a bit quiet after the honey badger. And see if we can find any sign of Tandy. Actually, while I'm here, it's getting quite warm. do not know. Ooh, too many cables. Oof, it's going to be hot today. It's going to be a proper scorcher. Okay, I think we're going to have a look for Tundi. If we have no luck with Tundi, we'll head back to that area where that Ellie herd we saw with the honey badger was. Sebastian?
MK wants to know do you think the people were square dancing?
MK would like to know whether I think the people were square dancing. Probably not. I think most likely they were G&T'ing, be my call. Okay. So last tracks of Tundi, we're heading in this general direction, so we'll just see if she's crossed the boundary into Torchwood. If not, take a trundle towards Buffelshoek Dam, then back towards the Ellies. Oh dear, that's very, very sad. Tristan found the puppies. Puppies! Puppies! But unfortunately it is in an area that we don't have signal yet. But remember, we are always working to expand our signal range. So hopefully soon we will. But there's a good chance this afternoon they will be in signal. Because it's hot now, they're going to go flat. So they'll probably only get on the move again this evening. And so yesterday when Tristan and I were tracking, we had tracks of Tundi up around here on the northern boundary. Just try and make sure she hasn't popped back in. While we are trundling along the eastern boundary, I think it is time for a little game. And the game shall be, I think we'll play a bit of a history game. Start off with an easy one. No Googling. Who was the first warden of the Sabi Game Reserve, which was later to become the Kruger National Park? Who was the first warden of the Sabi Game Reserve that was later to become the Kruger National Park? Hashtag SafariLive, if you know it. We've got some velociraptors here. Well, I think they move like velociraptors. Helmeted guinea fowl, of course. Oh dear, I think I've managed to figure out what's wrong with my earpiece, Sebastian. It's broken, so it's not sticking. The clip is not clipping. Emma, can you speak for me? I'm going to turn it down before I... Oh! We have a miracle. I fixed it all by myself. It's quite embarrassing what was wrong. I'm sorry. This was open like that. So all the sound was just going out there, and I was like, I can't hear it, I can't hear it. But it was that. Haha. I can see Conrad in Final Control going, phew. He thought he was going to have to redo the whole, find a whole, take out the whole comm system to try to figure out what was wrong. Conrad is relieved, I'm sure he is. Shame. Poor Conrad has been working non-stop for the last few days with the power surges and all sorts, trying to make sure that you guys get to see SafariLive every day. Okay, let's have a quick look here. Okay, interesting. while we search for Tundi. Sounds like Sydney is following ants.
Look at that. Look at what is happening here. I've got the ants. One of them is trying to pull something very, very big here. And they are not very far away from the nest. Their nest is just here, few centimeters away. You can see they are right here. And here, there is quite a lot of things happening. I can see that these things are, they are going now very quickly. I don't know if they are communicating very quickly about something happening outside. So they are trying to clean the nest. They are bringing out this. It seems like there is a root of one of the trees or grasses underneath. Look, you can see that one is holding something there now on his mouth. So they are taking, oh, look at that. They just dropped it and go back. Seems like they are communicating very quickly that there is people outside. So the ants, the queen ants, they've got to fight for dominance. In order for them to be regarded as the queens, they must fight for dominance, and those who lose the battles sometimes get killed by the workers. Workers support the dominant queens. It's interesting because these workers, they even is the ones who are responsible to feed the queen and the other queens. But when the dominant queen is identified, they are going to separate and give the food only to the queen to let the other queens die. And if they're not dying, they can even be able to kill them so that they can have only one dominant queen in the nest. And they are doing that while they are not even, look at that now. That one is coming now, trying to bring the food, and the tunnel is too small in order to fit that. Look at that. They're trying to fit it in. Is difficult. So maybe they're going to try another chamber. Look at that. So they're battling to pull it down, and they are helping each other, but it's not easy. Now they're taking it out again, trying to put it back. Look at that. And that looks like a termite. So that termite is very big. Look at that. They are battling. So they must have to change it and bring it this side. So I was saying that the dominant queens is the ones who are given the special treatment. And look, now maybe they're going to go to the right chamber this side. They are thinking about to approach now the other chamber. Look at that. Now they will be able to fit it in there. So, but still the other ones inside, look, that one just brought it there. It means they are those that are responsible to take it in. And they separated the head. Look, this is the head of that termite. You can see it there. So they only took the body. Maybe some of them will come back and grab this head. So these ants, the workers are doing that. They are only feeding the queen that is dominating the others, killing the other queens, not even knowing, not even sure about the reproductive status of the dominant queen. What if they kill all these queens and the dominant queen doesn't reproduce? That is going to affect the colony. Chasey, that is true indeed. The ants are interesting insects. So those are also part of my favorite insects. On the list, ants are also part of my favorite. So look at how this is. Anna Marie, the other ants can be very big. The biggest ant I have seen is called the African stinking ant. The African stinking ant can be this size. Let me just give you a drawing here. They can grow up to this size. Very big ant with the mandibles. So this looks very big. So you can see that all these ants are starting to disappear now. I'm sure they have picked up the information about our presence here in the area. So let's don't disturb them. So we're just going to leave them here, carry on and see if we can find something next. That has been a lovely sighting. Always interesting to see the interaction of these ants and how they do things, and the combination is interesting. So still looking. Yeah, not yet, but I have experienced the Matebele ants. Those ones, when I was still very young, I used to go out looking after the goats. And those ones, they bite, and if you've got a wound, they bite, and they're going to also leave some of the fluid there, and that fluid is painful. It's like, I don't know if that fluid comes from the mouth or from the sting. So now let's go back to Tristan. Tristan has got the baby elephant.
We do indeed. So from very few ellies, this morning I think this is now the 4th herd that I've already seen. And we may have been gone for a little bit. You may have noticed that we weren't around. And unfortunately, it's because we went to try and see if we could get some signal with some wild dogs on Torchwood. But alas, we didn't. We did see the dogs, but we didn't get any signal, I'm afraid. And we had to come rushing back. So that's why we were MIA for a little bit. I did actually get a little bit of a video of the dogs just to show you that I'm not sure which pack it is. There were a few puppies around. It looked like 4 adults and 4 puppies. So I think that's that Investec split that we were talking about, and they are just resting up at the moment quite far to the east. It was a long shot, and unfortunately they were about 300 meters from where we actually had signal. So it's one of those things, unfortunately, life goes that way, and we can't really complain too much because we've had a most epic morning. So I'm hoping that those dogs will come into a better place and that Brent can get to catch up with them maybe tomorrow morning or this afternoon or something like that. But they are around, and it'll be always nice when Brenty sees the dogs for the first time, because he absolutely loves wild dogs and hasn't had too many signs of them. But anyway, we've, like I say, lots of ellie herds around. 2 very cute little babies in this group that are busy milling about with the moms. They have been taking it very easy. They've been sitting here feeding for quite some time. We drove past them on the way to the wild dogs, and once again, kind of on the way back, they're still here. Now, they are slowly but surely feeding their way towards Chitwa. So they will be going in towards the sort of Mulawanini area, and then I would imagine towards Chitwa Dam eventually. Hopefully the big females take them along, and they will be able to kind of take us as well to the dam. It's been a long time since I've had a really nice ellie herd at Chitwa Dam, but look at how sweet that little one is. Both of them. Hey, little ones. Very cute. Now, the one closest to us is still tiny, 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 tiny. I mean, that elephant is probably, I would say, only a month or 2 old. So it's still very little and still a little wobbly on the feet. And then its older sibling that was just up to the left, it's probably, I would say, closer to about 5, 6 months old. But they really are little still. They're not very big ellies at all. And they are super playful this morning. They're kind of throwing their trunks around everywhere. You can see they kind of been walking around together, investigating Mom and everybody else. It's been quite wonderful actually to watch them go about their business, these 2 little ones, and I'm hoping, like I said, they'll be taken to Chitwa Dam, and if they are taken to Chitwa Dam, it will be really very, very cool, because these little ones might even have a little splash around. They'll have to be careful though, because a crocodile would be capable of taking down a little baby ellie like that. How cute is that? Look at these 2. Corolla, you say so sweet. They are super cute. When they're this age, they are as cute as can be, and you'll find that they'll kind of have lots and lots of energy to be able to play, and they push each other around, and they'll bite each other's tails and trunks, and they kind of generally play quite a bit. And it's nice when there's little ones that have a companion at the same sort of age. It allows them to have lots of games. And the rest of the herd, there's not too many youngsters here, so it would have been quite lonely if it was just one little baby by itself. It obviously has its older siblings, but is that one just picking up balls of poo and throwing it? That's not very nice. Don't throw balls of poo at each other. It's not your friend if you... Exactly, very rude. I don't know if I would call that my friend if it picked up a ball of poo and threw it at me. I suppose they're cousins, aren't they? They're actually not friends. They or family relatives, actually, in all honesty. And so if your relatives are throwing poo at you, I think it's time to reconsider the family bonds. But there, you see, it's picked up a ball of poo and is throwing it again. Now, sometimes what they'll do, obviously, is there's actually a reason for what's going on there. It's not because this ellie just feels like picking up balls of poo and throwing it around. They often will eat poo from their mothers, and particularly when they're so young. The reason being is that contains bacterias and microbes and all kinds of things that they actually need to get into their gut in order to aid with digestion and keep them healthy. So you will see it quite commonly with ellies, eating their mom's poo as it's been defecated, and that just helps them to sort out their digestive tracts and be able to get all the nutrients that they need in order to survive. Right, now we're sitting with our ellie babies who are full of the beans and full of the joys, and it sounds like Brenty has also got a elephant herd and also got little babies that are full of energy.
Indeed we do. We're with a lovely little herd of ellies. And look at that little one. It's just chewing on the stick, just because it's there. There's actually even a smaller one just behind. And they were having a little game just now. They might start up again. This is a very big herd of ellies. I'd say there's probably 40 or so spread all around us. Oh, here comes another one. Looks like trouble. A teenage boy. Oh, look, we're being sniffed, Seb, by the little guys. Sniff, 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 sniff. Now you can see there that stick that little ellie's just been chewing on. Of course, doesn't have the strength in the trunk to break it yet, so if you can't break it and it's low enough, just chew on it. Oof. There's some, you can just hear quite a lot of noise going on to the left of us, and there's two sort of 19, 20-year-olds pushing each other around, but through some very thick bush we can just hear them. Oof. Yes, you're very scary. Hello, scary. Are you going to give us a charge? I haven't been charged by a baby ellie in ages. Come on, give us a charge. No, I'm going to stay behind mom. I think there's a huge amount of elephants around at the moment. This is the second big herd we've seen today. The last herd, of course, we scurried past to keep up with the honey badger. It always amazes me how dexterous an elephant's trunk is. 100,000 plus muscles in an ellie's trunk. Hello, old girl. Oof, look at the babies. Look at them, still trying. Nikita was just saying she loves how baby ellie's trunks are so wobbly. You can see there, they're not quite expert enough to use their trunk just yet. They're getting to the age where they're starting to master it, but not quite. Now the big female coming in. Michael is asking, do I think ellie mothers feel proud or nervous for their babies? Proud, probably not, but nervous, definitely. Oh, look at that, being greeted by one of the sub-adults. Or is the sub-adult just trying to steal the branch? They're stealing the branch. Yeah, but Michael, definitely not proud, but I'd definitely say nervous. You can see, as soon as a baby elephant reacts nervously, the rest of the herd reacted, particularly the mothers. What are you... Oh dear. Where have I put... Oh, off we go. Off adventuring. These two boys are going at it properly. I can barely make them out through the thickets. I can just hear the breaking branches next to us. Now they might head down. What I'm hoping is that some of these ellies might head down towards Buffels Hook, a water hole, and not much water, but they might like a splish and splash in the mud. They're still a little bit far away, a couple of 100 meters. But it's always awesome to spend time with ellies. Pisces is wondering, are elephants able to find enough food to keep them healthy? At this time of the year, it is a challenge, so they do constantly move. But I haven't seen any particularly skinny ellies yet, so I'd say they're still fine for now, but they will be relishing the rains and the green grasses. And so it's much easier to get nutrients out of nice green grass than it is out of these dry branches that they're chomping on at the moment. Hey, big girl. Well, it looks like the little ones have split up and moved off. I'm just trying to keep an eye on those 20-year-old, 19, 20-year-olds having a big box. Seems to be a break in the fighting because I can't hear trees being destroyed behind me at the moment. Oh. You got to do what you got to do to get that nutrients. Absolutely splendid. Oh, listen. Can you hear that call? Cuckoo. African cuckoo calling. Of course, now it keeps completely quiet. Just keep quiet for a little bit longer. Maybe the cuckoo will start calling again. There we go. Cuckoo. Very faint call, not too close, but it's the first African cuckoo I've heard this year. That's lovely. When you've got to eat and you've got an itch at the same time. Buffalo would like to know, how far can an ellie elongate its trunk? Well, it depends on the elephant, I suppose. But as you can see, there is a concertina effect to the exact length that they can elongate their trunk. If I was to tell you an exact number, I would be lying. I'm not sure. Ooh, we are in for a treat. Let's head back to Tristan and his ellies that are stampeding towards Chitwa Dam.
They are, but they're going to take a long time to get there. They're just slowly feeding their way along towards Chitwa Dam. It's going to take probably, I would say, at the rate that they're going, a good hour or so until, oh, hello, until they get to that area. Chitwa Dam is pretty much in the direction that they're facing at the moment, not too far away, but lots of feeding going on, little babies suckling, and that always slows the progress of the herd towards water. The thing is, though, once they probably see the water, they'll quicken up and they'll head there hopefully fairly soon. But look at this. Hello. Yes? What do you want? Or are you being brave? It's always cute when baby ellies are around it. Very, 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 very cute little things. I love spending time with ellie herds, particularly when you've got naughty little babies like this, because they are quite feisty. They try and be brave and try and push in and try and make sure that they are big and strong, and then they immediately kind of regret the decision and run back to mom, and you end up with these kind of little ones hiding behind their mother. It's always very, very cute when they do that. Now, there's three little ones. There's that one, which is the oldest of the three. We obviously saw the other two just now. They're off to our left at the moment. They're going to slowly come down the hill towards where we are. And I must be honest, it's very, very, very cool to have seen how relaxed that mother is with her tiny baby. So the smallest baby, they walked right up close to us, and she wasn't in any way phased by us or anything like that. She was very chilled, and it's always special when a big intelligent animal like an elephant chooses that you are not something that it deems to be a threat. It's a special experience when you've got a mom and her tiny little baby that close to you. So it was very cool just to kind of watch them walk towards us, and then they spent a little bit of time feeding, and then off they went. Little baby was very curious, and trunk was out and ears and looking at us, and mom was completely relaxed about it. And it's important that mom is relaxed like that, because it only then teaches this little one not to worry about us and to know that we're not a threat to that little one. But how special is this? So nice to be in amongst herds. It's been, obviously we had a nice little Ellie patch, and then they all disappeared, and it's nice again to see that with the heat that's coming out, because it's incredibly hot already this morning, that it seems like our Ellie herds will be back in the area again, which is wonderful news. I always enjoy when we have lots of Ellies. The problem that we have is that there's very little in the way of water on Djuma at the moment, so I would expect a lot of Ellies here around Chitwa, given that we've got obviously a very kind of big water source here. But on Djuma itself, besides Vuatela now and Galago Pan, we really don't actually have any water for these guys at all, so Ellies particularly. So I don't think we're going to be seeing too many big herds on Djuma spending too long around until such time as we start to see water and a bit of rain come our way. Oh, hello. Are you being feisty out of nowhere? We've been sitting here for how long? And now you want to be feisty. Yes, now it's turned its back on us. It's just saying, I just showed you. Anyway, we'll leave that one to itself. We'll carry on and head off with the rest of the herd. You are far more obliging and far nicer to us. Yes, you're being rude today. Don't be rude. If Brent was here,
well, we've just been sitting here trying to decide whether the elephants are going to go down towards Buffelshoek Dam or not, but I don't think so. But we will. And who knows, maybe Tandy's about. It has been a lovely morning so far. I'm still in awe of that honey badger sighting. Yes, I agree with everyone who's saying it's been an epic day in general. Lovely Inkahumas with Trist to start, and honey badger. I think the honey badger might beat the Inkahumas. I don't know. What do you think, Seb? Yeah. Yeah. Honey badgers beat the Inkahumas. Yeah, unless the Inkahumas are caught a buffalo. Yeah, I don't think they're going to come down here. They seem to be moving parallel through the thickets, but we do have some donkeys at Buffelshoek Dam. Hello, donkeys. What are you doing here, donkeys? You come for a muddy drink. Now, of course, they are not donkeys, they are zebras, just in case anyone was getting confused. Very nice, the zebras are back. This time of the year, any little bit of water will attract all sorts of animals. and they've finished their drink. Now going to head off. Now, different animals will often drink at different time of the day, but it's one animal that can drink at any time of the day is elephants. So let's go to Tristan.
Indeed, they can drink at any time of the day, and I'm pretty sure that these guys are going to take advantage of the ability to do so and head off towards the dam, as we were talking about a little bit earlier. So pretty sure we'll see these guys moving off that direction at some point. It's still a lot of feeding taking place. There's a lot of kind of destroying of vegetation. There's a few trees that are looking a little worse for wear after this elephant herd has been around. They have broken and destroyed plenty of these monkey oranges. They've also gone after a few bush willows, and it's just unfortunate that some of them look the way they do. There's a couple sickle bushes that have also been hammered and look a little worse for wear too. So particularly this bush on the right of where these ellies are feeding, you can see it's sustained rather substantial damage, particularly to most of the twigs and branches that have been broken there. So unfortunately for this tree, it's not having the best day. It's being picked on by this elephant herd a little bit, and so some of those breaks are going to take a bit of time to heal. But luckily trees are resilient, particularly things like sicklebush. They are able to somehow withstand the abuse that elephants rain down on them at regular times. So I'm pretty sure it will be okay. It won't worry too much about it. But I'm amazed at how ellies can actually even eat these things. They have seriously sharp spines, and it's highly uncomfortable when one of those spines gets into your body in any place. I suppose ellies have much thicker skin than what we do, but I once had a sicklebush thorn. I remember we were following a leopard around, and there was a sicklebush tree, and we had to cut a little branch to get through to where the leopard was, and so it was on the opposite side of where my tracker was, and so I cut the branch, and as I cut it, it fell and kind of fell back on me, and so it basically the tree or branch went straight into my thumb, just on the sort of right side of my thumb, and went down pretty much along the edge of my nail. And so I thought, well, nothing of it, I'll just pull it out, and pulled it out. It was a little painful at the time, obviously. It's never nice when you get a thorn kind of under your nail bed straight through. So I thought, well, it'll be okay. I pulled it out, everything was fine. And then kind of that evening, it was still sore, and I looked, and there was still this piece of sicklebush that was stuck. Oh goodness, this ellie's about to get a sicklebush to the forehead via its mother. It's not going to end well, but anyway. And so I thought, well, I'll just kind of, poke around and see what I can find. Anyway, tried very hard to get this thorn out, squeezed, tweezers, everything, no avail, couldn't get it out. Anyway, this went on for about 6 weeks of trying to get this stupid thorn out, because I was at work. There's no ways I could go to the doctor or anything like that. I was busy at the time, and my thumb ended up starting to resemble more an elephant's foot than a thumb. It got so swollen, and it was seriously painful and throbbing almost every day. So eventually I had a complete enough of this story, and so I asked around for a scalpel, and then basically got a scalpel blade and went and cut it out myself. And so I just kind of nicked this right side here, and then basically took a pair of tweezers and pulled it out. Now the thorn itself, I actually think I've even got a photo. The thorn itself was quite big. It wasn't exactly a small thorn, and it was, I can promise you, the most relief ever when that thing came out. I'll try and find the photo for you quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. It was rather large in the end, and I didn't really realize it at the time, but I'm very thankful that it came out. It was very unpleasant, Emma. You have no idea. You can ask Alish how much squeaking there was from me every single day as I tried to cope with this stupid thorn that was stuck in my thumb. Oh, hold on, where is it? Oh, there we go. It was actually my left thumb. I lied. I said it was my right, but it was my left. So there we go. That is what it looked like when it came out. So that was embedded in my thumb for all of 6 weeks. It's not exactly small, and you can see where it came out. It came out of that sort of piece there. Not very pleasant at all. It was an uncomfortable time of life, I can promise you that right now, and taking it out was not very nice. I actually looked a bit like Casper by the time that came out. I went very white as I was pulling that out of my thumb, and Ali thought that I might just pass out right there, but luckily, nobody else intervened, because I think I would have probably punched somebody if they'd pulled it out while touching that. At least it was myself that was doing all the damage, and anyway, I've managed, like I say, to deal with it, and everything was okay, but part of living out here. So that's why I say I don't know how these Ellies actually feed off this stuff. How they are able to process it and actually not hurt themselves is astounding to me, but they somehow manage to do it. Right, let's carry on. Let's keep up with the herd. I was waffling on so much that the herd's disappearing on us. I don't know why my mic cable is pulling on me today, but anyway, I'll try and fix that just now. Come on, you lot, down to the water. You're not far. So the water, see the open area through on my right-hand side. Just on that little ridge there is the open area north of the dam, and then the dam kind of drops down straight ahead of us. You can actually see the dam wall. So just through that gap there is where the dam wall actually is. So the dam is not very far at all. There we go. Now you can just make out a dam wall in between all of those branches. So that's roughly where the water is, and that's why we need them to move a little bit faster to get down that way. Right, now, while we've been playing around with all big things this morning, it seems as though Sydney's been looking at all the smaller things, and let's go across and see what he's been up to.
So look at that, I've got something that is very much difficult to recognize here, what is happening. But if you can check here nicely, you will see that this soil here is very much soft, and something dragged the soil backwards. So this has been an antelope, because you can see these droppings there. So, and it seems like this animal has been here very often. This has been the steenbok. So this is what the steenbok are doing. So they come here. Let me show. They don't use the hind legs like cats, because the cats, when they defecate, after that they use the hind legs in order to cover the droppings. So the steenbok uses the front legs. And if you look at the hoofs of the steenbok, they are much more thin at the tips, so that they can be able to dig. So they've got a very nice triangular. You can see there's quite a lot of droppings there that I'm getting from here. Look at here as well. So this animal is defecating and kicking the soil in order to cover the droppings. Look at how much droppings we are getting from underground. So this is where the steenbok is hiding away the droppings. So steenbok is, when having the little ones as well, they do eat droppings of their little ones in order to hide evidence to the big predators that they have got the little ones. They know that predators can be able to sniff the milk from the droppings, and they know that they have got little ones. So this animal is very, very much clever. So the steenbok also get predated by the big birds, such as the marshal eagles. So marshal eagle can be able to take up a steenbok on flight. So it means it's quite a very, very big bird. Hayoko, in Juma at the moment, I can say the vegetation is so very much balanced together with the prey animals, including the predators. So there is a very good ecological carrying capacity, and the prey animals is not too much that we have got at the moment versus the number of predators in the area. If you check, the leopards are controlling the population of the small prey animals such as the duiker and steenbokkies, and also impalas. Then you have got the lions, who are then assisting, dealing with the big the prey animals such as the zebras and buffaloes. And sometimes they even do take big browsers such as the giraffes. So the balance is there, no problem at the moment. So now let's go back to Brent, who is looking for Thandi, and hear how his search is going.
Well, we haven't found any fresh tracks of Thandi, which leads me to believe that she is in the north, where Tristan and I had a crossing yesterday when we went tracking, unfortunately. So we're going to go for a last half an hour leopard. We're going to go see if we can find Hosanna around camp, around the pans. But anywhere from here should be a good there should be a good chance. We have some answers for our quiz. Samsung and Michael Fleetwood, you are not right, unfortunately. Paul Kruger, who the Kruger National Park was named after, was the president of the old republic. I've forgotten the name of it, but the predecessor to the Republic of South Africa. It was the Zuid-Afrikaanse Republic, the old Boer Republic, and he was the one who signed the documents to proclaim that area as a park. Originally, it was the Sabi Game Reserve, and over the years, more areas were added to what was now become the Kruger National Park. The last area to be added to the Kruger National Park was in the 60s, and that was the Mukuleki area to the north of the Livuvu River, and now called, that whole area is called Pafuri. Now, it's been quite interesting because that was a forcible, people were forcibly removed from that area in the 60s and made to live somewhere else. And there was a land claim, and the community claimed back that portion of the park. But however, instead of resettling it, they went into partnership with private enterprise. So there's a couple of lodges up there and a guide training school that lease that area from the community. And it's quite a very interesting area, very beautiful beautiful area. There's big fever tree forests, and also a very famous spot in Lowveld history called Crook's Corner. Now, Crook's Corner is at the junction of the Limpopo and Livuvu rivers. It is also where three countries join: South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique. Now, during the 1800s, it was a hot spot for gold smugglers, ivory poachers, and also there's some very famous characters. One of my favorites, his name was Mbevekane, the one who beats with his fists. Obviously not quite a nice man, but that was his Shanghai name. And he was quite a famous, well, it depends who you speak to. Some areas he was a legal elephant hunter, but most of the time he was a illegal elephant hunter. And depending on which authorities were looking for him, he used to move the border post to make sure he couldn't get caught, and that's where the Crook's Corner comes from. So if the Portuguese, and as we're talking about colonial days, if the Portuguese were looking for them, he would go stand on the South African side. If the South Africans were looking at him, he would go stand on the Portuguese side, and vice versa. So it became quite a famous spot. Yeah, so it was a very, very interesting part of the world. There was an old trading post there, and also people who were trying to smuggle gold from the Barberton fields and all sorts of places used to try sneak it through there, because it was far from the traditional points of authority and border crossing, and you could just basically stroll across the border. So there was a lot of dodgy dealings that happened around Crook's Corner. It was also quite interesting because on that point there, it is the Kathleen, it was indeed a Hamilton, but it was James Hamilton, but it was Stevenson Hamilton was his full surname. if I remember correctly, he held a rank of Lieutenant Colonel. James Stevenson Hamilton was the first warden of the Sabi Park, which later became the first park that became Kruger. Now, let's check Ingwe Alley. Now, the other interesting thing about that is that if those of you have been to the Kruger National Park, most of you would have been to the main camp, which is called Skakoza, which is the Shangaan name for the red-collared widow bird that is seen in the Sabi River there quite frequently. And that was Stevenson Hamilton's nickname amongst the Shangaan people, because when there were any official people, he used to put on his fancy clothes, and he had a suit with long tails, so like a long tail of a widow bird. And where were we talking? Oh, we were talking about Crook's Corner. So yeah, so there was a couple of dodgy chaps in that area, and I've walked in that area quite a lot. So I've actually been to where the old trading post was, where the guys used to buy their guns, ammunition, and sell their ill-gotten gold and ivory and whatnot. And it's sort of the equivalent, the South African or African equivalent of the Wild Wild West. Now there's another quite famous sort of character in African hunting history, a guy by the name of P.J. Jungle Man Pretorius, who moved through there, and he ended up being Major P.J. Jungle Man Pretorius, but that came much later. He was a great hater of all forms of government and rules and stuff. He wanted to live the wild way. So initially he made his living as a legal elephant hunter, and then eventually when it became more strict, he became an illegal elephant hunter. But most of the time he was actually a legal elephant hunter, and he hunted all the way from here up to the boundary of Tanzania and Mozambique, and well into Tanzania, into what is today the modern day Selous Game Reserve. I remember the name. I might get the name of the boat wrong. I'll double check it. So eventually, when the government started moving from everywhere, he decided to settle in the southern highlands of Tanzania, near an area called Mfundi, which is absolutely beautiful country down there, and elephant hunting was no longer legal in a lot of places. So he bought himself a very large herd of cattle, and he settled down. He was about in his 40s then, to be a farmer, and he had been farming happily for quite a few years, and the outbreak of World War I happened, and I remember the name of the boat. And so of course in those days Tanzania was Tanganyika, or German East Africa, and Kenya was British East Africa, or Kenya, so under British control. So there was quite a few, what they called it, the Battle of the Bundu, down there. And what happened is that the Germans moved a very big battle cruiser called the Kunensbach into that area, and it was playing havoc with the British supply lines that were trying to, or the Allied supply lines that were trying to supply weapons and whatever you need to run a war, to British East Africa, to Mombasa and to Zanzibar, because they had annexed Zanzibar by that stage from the Germans. And well, it's a bit more complicated. They didn't annex. The Sultan, gets complicated. The Sultan didn't want to deal with with the Germans, so he brought the British in. But anyway, so talking about the Kunensberg. So the Kunensberg was absolutely hammering the British supply lines and causing them much trouble. And so the British sent out, they didn't have a big battle cruiser in the Indian Ocean at this time. They were spread, the naval battles were spread far more to the north and in the Atlantic. And they lost 2 ships, but they severely damaged this big battle cruiser. And they were now looking for the chance to end it, to sort of end the German supremacy of the Indian Ocean along the African coast. And what happened is the Germans sailed it up one of the large river mouths there. And it's an incredible river mouth, the Rufiji River mouth. And so the Rufiji River runs through the modern-day Selous Game Reserve. And it was hidden inside there. But now, tying it back to our friend we were talking about, Major PJ Jungleman Pretorius. So he was had no military rank before this. So I told you he had his big herd of cows. He was farming down in the southern highlands of Tanzania. World War I broke out, and the Germans took all his cattle without compensation. And he was a tough, really tough guy. I mean, you had to be an elephant hunter in those days, and a farmer in southern Tanzania, for that fact. He was so angry with the Germans because he didn't like the British, he didn't like the Germans, but he was hiding down there and everyone pretty much left him alone. He was so angry with the Germans for not paying for his cows and taking them without compensation. He walked to the closest British enlisting point, which from southern Tanzania was, which is now Lilongwe, which was Blantyre, the capital of Malawi in those days. So about 500 kilometers. He got so angry he walked down there, and he enlisted in the British Army. And his unique knowledge of that part of Africa, and that's where I've forgotten the name of the German commander who managed to survive on almost nothing and keep the British fighting there for much longer than he should have, was also hiding. So what happened is, now the Kunensberg had been taken into this river delta and was well hidden, so the British guns on the ships couldn't see it. So I'm going to try to speed up the story. I think I'm taking too long. So they couldn't see it. How long do we have left, Seb? Oh, 15 minutes. Okay, I'll finish the story after we go see what Sydney's up to.
So you can see now I am right on top of the termite mound, which looks like the volcanic lava. And here is a big house. You see where I'm standing? I'm standing here because I don't want to have problems. If I go and stand there, is when I will experience problems. So this hole has been dug by the artifact. You can see that artifact is also one of the big animals. It can be able to dig about 6 meters hole down in 15 minutes. It's very much fast to dig. And his holes suddenly get used by the other animals as a timeshare. So this one I can see it has been an active hole, but now no one is in there. I can see that the tracks are showing very old. But when you see the flies here by the door, it means the hole is active. When there's no flies, nothing, then it means that hole is not active. So the warthogs is the ones that are going to give you a problem, because they use these holes and they always go back in reverse and always ready to charge their intruders. If you stand there when the warthog is in, you're going to have problems, because if that hole is deep as 6 meters, that animal is going to catch a lot of speed before coming out there. So it means that termite mound is still very much active, because I can see, if you can show the sensor, there is some of the building going on. It means the artifact managed to eat the termites, but he was not able to get to the queen, and the queen is the one who is reproducing. So it means the queen was by the royal chamber where the artifact couldn't manage to get, and she is reviving the termite mound again. So if the artifact comes for an attack, it does not mean it's going to be the end of the termite mound, because some of these artifacts, they eat few, some they eat a lot, and some can eat everything. Cat, if you step on a snake, normally some of the snakes can be aggressive, retaliate, and want to bite. I did at one stage step on a puff adder, but nothing happened. This puff adder was sleeping, and then I was walking and I stepped on that puff adder, and someone behind me saw it, but I was wearing a safety boot. It did not act at all. He was just sleeping there and it was fine. But some of the snakes can be very much dangerous if you do that. So, fortunately, I have not yet been bitten by a snake, but I do handle snakes a lot, because when I find them, I always encourage people not to kill them, rather take them away so that they can go where they were going. Accidentally, they come to the house. We don't stay with them very often. So there is no need to kill these animals, because they also got a very positive role in this ecology. Look at this tree. This has been a very big tree. It looks like it has been a big marula or something has been knocked down by. It was lead wood. Looking at this, I can see this was a lead wood. This was knocked down by the elephant. So it means it has been a very, very powerful elephant. And this tree has got some holes here. I can see if you can come this side, Senzo. Something has been going on here. So look at this. You can see that there is some big holes, and nicely done. Look at that. These holes has been dug by the woodpecker. So the woodpecker is so very much strong in such a way that they can be able to open the lead wood, which is one of the very strong wood. So now we are going to carry on and see if we can find something. So now we are just going to check around the quarantine area and see if we can find something on our way back. So elephant has been destructive a little bit in this area. I can see there is quite a lot of trees falling down, but this is not a huge impact. At this stage here in Juma, the elephants, they are not yet causing a negative impact here on this vegetation. So now let's go to Brent and hear his story.
Welcome back. I'm just getting a sip of water before I carry on my monologue. So we got to the fact that Jungle Man PJ Pretorius walked to Malawi to register for the British Army. So he did that, and now the British had damaged this massive battle cruiser, the Kunensberg, and it was hiding in the Rufiji River Delta. So they cut down a lot of trees and they placed it over it. So the spotter plane, World War I spotter plane, remember it's not quite the same as World War II even today. But what they also did is they took some of the big guns off the boat and they mounted them on islands at the mouth. So the British couldn't send a boat in there because they would be absolutely whacked. But they had moved a big enough boat that had big enough guns that they could shoot distance into there, but they didn't know where it was. It was well hidden. So our Jungle Man went in undercover. So one of the scary things that the Germans did is to get all the pieces to fix this massive ship. They cut a straight line through the bush from Dar es Salaam to the Rufiji Delta, and they had porters working and basically enslaved labor, forcing people to carry these massive pieces of metal and equipment to fix the ship all the way down a couple of 100 kilometers through the bush. And so on foot, it's bushwalk speaking about on foot. So Jungle Man basically went in there. He disguised himself as a native porter, so he painted himself. I'm not sure how he did it. Him and his tracker, who he'd been hunting with for many years, and they managed to pretend to be part of the working train, get onto the ship, get the coordinates, work out the coordinates of the ship, and then sneak out again, and then give that information through to the big British ship sitting offshore, and they managed to bomb and sink that ship, which is still sitting at the bottom of the Rufiji Delta, surrounded by crocodiles, hippos, and Zambezi sharks. Okay, let's keep moving. Now, apparently some of you are interested about Paul Kruger and the story. Safari Grandma was asking about former President Kruger and the Kruger millions that many people have wasted their life searching for. I think Jamie's grandfather, you must ask Jamie about it. Jamie's grandfather spent some time in his youth searching for the Kruger millions. Now, at the end of the Second Anglo-Boer War, which was between the Afrikaans and the British, the British were obviously winning by this stage, were far in and were pushing the Boers further and further towards the east, actually towards this area. And there's a couple of interesting little towns around here. There's a town that has the dubious distinction of being the capital of the old Zuid-Afrikaanse Republiek for one day. So wherever Kruger was became the capital. So Pretoria and Johannesburg had been won by the British, and then for a long time he was based in Lydenburg. Now this is where the story of the Kruger millions in this area comes from. That while he was fleeing from the British, somewhere along these hills, most likely between Lydenburg and Nelspruit, or Lydenburg and Leitsdorp, he hid all the gold from the very, obviously still some of the wealthiest gold mines in the world, which are along the Witwatersrand in South Africa. And the Kruger millions, the Kruger rands, apparently they're all hidden in a cave or buried somewhere there, and lots of people have searched for them. Now, I would love to believe that there were millions upon millions in gold hiding somewhere for me to go find. And if I thought there was a possibility, I would definitely go searching for them. However, if you think about it logically, I'll just stop in the shade, it's getting quite warm. If you think about it logically, the Boer Republic was a very small republic, and they were fighting a war against the largest empire ever to be in the world, the Great British Empire, who sort of seemingly has an endless budget. So I think in trying to do alliances and get weapons and cannons and stuff like that, there was no money left. Kruger fled with no money. He actually came down through the Long Tom Pass, which runs down from the Drakensberg, from Lydenburg to Nelspruit, and from Nelspruit to Komatipoort, and then he took refuge in he got given refuge by the Portuguese, and he went to Maputo, which is, well, then was Lorenzo Marx, and then sailed off to, I think it was Belgium, who gave him asylum. Belgium or Holland, I can't remember. I think it was Belgium. Would have been Leopold's days, so probably Belgium. Nasty man, old Leopold. And he basically died a pauper in a foreign country. So I wish there were Kruger millions to go find. Sebastian and I would be saying, guys, we're out, no more SafariLive, we're going to look for millions and millions in gold. Because if anyone was going to find them, it'd be us. But unfortunately, I think that gold was depleted in the war effort against the great British Empire. Okay, well, now I've finished with a little bit of history for the last half an hour. No sign of Hosanna, but let's see where Tristan has got to now.
Well, we are just checking one of Hosanna's favorite spots. I couldn't speak there for a second. Oopsie, I almost missed the turn off. There we go. So we're just going to quickly check at the bush price, see if he's here, and see if he's maybe just chilling out. I think it's his trucks though that I had this morning going towards Gallagher Pan. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him. But we left our Ellies, unfortunately, because they just basically went static. They had not moved, and they're just going to take probably another hour or two to get down to Chipwood Dam, which we just didn't have. So we decided to come up and see if we could get a last minute spotted cat. Given we've had so much luck already today, we thought maybe, no, he's not lying in his spot. You see, there's his spot in that corner there. That's where he likes to lie sometimes. I've caught him there twice now. I also had Tundi and Kalamba come from here the other night too, so they like to lie in the shade of the brickwork, which is the Bushbrae spot. So alas, no Hosanna today, but anyway, it was worth just checking there quickly. I'm pretty sure those are his tracks that go that way, and that he's milling about somewhere near Gallagher Pan, or maybe just north of, and so I'm pretty sure he'll pop out by this evening. We know it's hot and dry, and that means that everything's got to come for water at some point, and the water is becoming a major issue. As we saw with those lions today, they really struggled to find water. They had to walk from you know, all the way from Zoe's, they went to Treehouse, Twin Dam, still no water, Baboon Pan, nothing, and then they eventually now have ended up at Treehouse Dam on Little Gowrie, which is a beautiful pan. So they eventually got their drink, but it just goes to show you how far animals will move, and those lions walked in quite warm weather all the way to that side. So I wouldn't be surprised this afternoon we get a cat popping out at Buffelshoek or at Gallagher Pan or Vuyatela Pan, making an appearance. So hopefully, because we have a rehearsal tonight. Right, now I believe that I'm going to send you to Sydney to finish things up. I can spy Sydney right now, and so let's, without further ado, send you to him, and we'll pass off in the background.
I am now right much more towards the quarantine area, and this is the last. Oh, look at Tristan. He's just passing by with Dave. I am sure they're done now. So we are now heading back to the camp. But now as we're walking, I would like to also be thankful to you for all the questions and comments. It has been indeed an interactive walk, coupled with quite a lot of sightings from the game drive and these tiny little things here by the guided walks. Look at that. So you can see that here where I am is quite very much clear and very much open. So this is where the animals are concentrating the most. So the thing is, this area is consisted of quite a lot of grasses which attract them. So even big animals, I can see that the buffaloes are also passing by here. Thank you very much again for all the questions, and let's meet again by this afternoon.